Simos. And Monkfish. Hard shots and
Yo, what's the crack? Welcome back to Big Boy Simo. Simbad Sim Frame, aka the real Sim Shady.
Monkfish, how we all getting on? I hope you're not sitting there.
Where's the jacks here? I'll have to go in a minute. I had a few beers before here.
That's alright. And he got a taxi here. He did not drive.
No, Pamela drove.
Pamela did drive, actually. There we go. But anyway, we are here with the Underbody King himself, Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas, how are you?
Yo.
And the man that's blown TikTok up in the Irish scene.
Yeah, but here, let's not be rude.
No.
Pamela is here with him as well.
Yep.
Pamela is here. But here, let's not, cause what we usually do, yeah, we just jump into things too fast.
It's not even that. It's just tangents. We go off on tangents. But
he's a good man at talking, so we'll let him talk as much as we can.
We won't talk as much today. We'll let Lucas tell his story today.
I'm good at that.
Right, let's take us back. Let's take us back to fucking. Let's pretend you're that little young fella that does your videos with you. Let's take us back that far.
Lucas growing up in Poland.
Well, in Poland, I had fuck all growing up in Poland. Put it that way. I have two sisters and a brother. And my parents didn't make a lot of money, so grew up having nothing, And when I was 18 years old, my brother was in Ireland, and he said one day, "Right, come over for a fucking 2 weeks or 2 months when I was vacation in Poland."
Yeah.
And I wasn't good at school, put it that way. So when I came here and I got my first wages and the second wage, I was making like 400 quid a week, which I thought was fucking mad money to me back then. You know what I mean? And the rest is history, because I never came back and they never saw me again.
Just don't look back.
What, are your family still over there?
Yeah, they're still over there. So I just fly once a year and I help them financially all the time.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm just gonna settle here.
When you're Polish, do you have to join the military over there?
So that was the thing back in the day. But they took it down about 4 years before I would have to go. So I didn't go.
Oh,
but they were still chasing me because when I left, because there's this thing. So even though you don't have to go to the military, you have to go to this bloody office and they have to give you a category, right? So you're A, B, C or D. If you're A, you're going to the army. If you're B, if now in the case of war you're going to the army. Right. If you're B, you might go to the army, but they might put you as a driver or something. If you're C, you're cuckoo, and if you're D, you're really cuckoo basically. You're not going.
And what did he put you into?
I didn't go.
He was E.
They didn't even get me there.
Category for you.
I didn't even go. That's why they were chasing me. That's why for a couple of years when I was flying up and down, I had to go through Germany. And then the rest is history. And then I was just working here in some shitty jobs until I was working for this one Irish guy, and he pissed me off so much one day. I loved him. He was treating me like his son, but he was so fucking hungry with money, and he was so whipping me basically a little bit, And I got pissed off one day, and I said, "Fuck this shit! I want to have my own money. I want to have my own shit, and I'm gonna start open businesses, right?" Yeah. Out of nowhere, do you know what I mean? I was dumb as fuck. Do you know what I mean? Smoking weed for a living. That's what I was, And
weed is good.
Everything changed that night. So I'll tell you the story about the scrap. A lot of you probably heard this before, but
for our listeners, do tell us.
Yes, this story is cool. So basically, I was working for this fella. I didn't even have my driving license, right? And I was basically a labourer on site.
A labourer?
Yeah.
A geo.
I had my little backpack, and I would come in every day.
A few sandwiches.
And I used to pick this fucking copper scrap every day, right? Pipes, right?
Yeah, so I'm a plumber, so you're the man that's going around taking on my pipes, right? Pieces like that size.
Into my backpack, honest to God, because I used to take them because I knew that this shit is valuable if you accumulate it, So for a year I was collecting, it was a year or 2 years, I can't remember now, but I was collecting it for over a year, and anyway.
I'd say you had some stack.
I had a full wheelie bin of it, and then I had a full wheelie bin of lead, and then I had a load of aluminium or something, right? And 2 weeks before Christmas, I said to the boss, "Listen, boss, we've not doing much work. Can I get a lend of the van? I'll go and I'll sell it." So I promised my mom 500 quid and rang my mom and I said, "Mom, I'm gonna send you 500 quid for Christmas." 500 quid is a fucking load of money to my mom. Do you know what I mean? Especially back in the day, like that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But what happened was I went to the scrapyard with all that stuff, and as a tool, because I didn't know anything about anything, so they asked me, what company are you from? And I said, oh, well, there you go, this is the company. They took the name of the van and they gave me a check. But the check was made to the company.
Oh,
no.
Right, so I had to give the check to the boss and for him to give me the money.
And he
but
wanted
he
half.
didn't give me the money. He only gave me 1/3 of the money. He gave 1/3 to his son and he kept 1/3.
After you collecting it for the full year.
Yeah.
Me bollocks.
I know. And you know, that day I said, fuck this. I came back home and literally, you know, like I might sound like a little bitch, but I sat on the corner of my bed and, you know, I didn't have money for rent. I didn't have money to send my mom. And all I had was a 300 quid in my pocket left after everything, you know, and I said, I squeezed my teeth and a fucking tear came over my ear because I had to ring my mom and tell her, listen, mom, Christmas ain't coming. And she already thought I was an idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
but
that
after that, collecting for a full year, like I say, I'm ready
It is
to
heavy.
bust.
I was boiling.
I done it for 3 weeks and I just gave up then. I was saying, fuck that.
I was collecting
Carrying
it.
this
I was
shit man
collecting
around
it.
and
I
all.
didn't even have a car to bring it. I didn't even have a license back then.
You just weren't thinking. You weren't thinking on the ball. Or you didn't know. You know what I mean? Bang! It's his company. You have to bring him back the check.
Yeah, I could have asked for cash and everything would be different. But if I did that, I probably wouldn't be where I am. Because I needed that kick. If that didn't happen, like, do you know what I mean? People say that you have to hit the rock bottom in order to bounce back.
Exactly.
And get the motivation.
Monks.
That was my rock bottom.
true, yeah.
That day was my rock bottom when I had to ring my mom because I had to ring her. She was expecting the money and I had to say, Mom.
It's Christmas
And that
time.
was a very hard phone call for me to make. Very hard phone call. One of the hardest in my life, in fact, you know. But after that, I said, I will never, ever, ever let this situation happen in my life again. I want to have money. I want to have respect. And I want this and I want that. And that night, I downloaded my first audiobook because I knew I was stupid. I knew. I just knew that I was stupid because, you know, I just knew that I'm uneducated. I don't have any knowledge.
So you'd rather read it to get the yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I'm dyslexic. I barely read, man.
Yeah, so
and I do audiobooks myself.
Yeah, there you go. But you don't have to read anymore. You can listen to them. So
Listen to
that
it.
night, I remember I downloaded the first audiobook, and the name of that audiobook was The Little Great Book of Yes Attitude. And that book got me going because the guy said in the book, don't listen to this book just once. Re-listen to it every day. And next year, listen to it again. Drill it into your head. And I did just that. And then I started the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And I'm doing that for the past 10 years. That's where everything accumulates. People think that you can read 2 books and you're gonna be fucking successful. My bollocks. Everything, you know, stacked on top of each other after 10 years. That's when the success happens. Do you know what I mean?
You don't just come successful overnight, though, don't you?
Would you have read The Secret?
Yeah. But The Secret is a foo-foo. Oprah was actually sued for The Secret. You know that?
Was she?
Yeah, well, somebody attempted because some woman read The Secret and she got a cancer. Just, you know, as in, you know, not connected to the secret, but she got a cancer and she refused to do the chemotherapy because she said she's gonna cure herself using the law of attraction. But nobody told her in this fucking book that you have to do it over 20 years. Healing is real. I do heal myself. I do a lot of meditation. I'm gonna tell you the spiritual books I've read. The healing is real. But the thing about healing yourself and meditation and all that, it works over time. So you have to meditate. You have to heal yourself since you're
I have an opinion on that myself.
But you can't heal cancer in a week. She thought you can do it. But that's what Secret says. The Secret doesn't specify that there's a lot of other components to the law of attraction. They just say, think it and it'll happen. My bollocks, you know, there's thinking and positive thinking is just one ingredient of 10, you know. I think I have it figured out to a T, you know.
You think you have it down to a T?
Well, fucking obviously.
Yeah, well, you're doing something like anyway.
Yeah, you know, the goal, the law of attraction absolutely must be combined with goal setting techniques. Right. So your goal setting technique should be exactly you have to read the book about it because I can't even cover this here. I can give you some tips here.
Just give us some tips.
So then if you learn goal setting and then combine that with the law of attraction proper way, not the foo-foo law of attraction in The Secret. You know, good books to learn about that would be like Stuart Wilde. Stuart Wilde wrote books like The Money Bible, Attracting Stuff, and this guy has been out since the 60s. You know what I mean? He recently died actually in Ireland. He was an English guy. What he was doing through meditation, this guy would travel through different dimensions and doing crazy stuff. Like most people that if you walk to them and you tell them this story, they would like,
dimensions, like what you mean? Like was he doing DMT or something, was he?
DMT is a different thing, but like, you know, we live here in this world, right? But there's different dimensions, you know, the way some people see ghosts or something. Like
higher powers and energies.
There's different worlds happening here, but we don't see them because our eyesight is very limited. Our hearing is very limited. Our smell is very limited. Like, you know, there's a lot of other stuff that's happening all around. But basically, when you either if you take the dimethyltryptamine, which is the DMT, or you can do it through meditation, but it'll take you 20 years.
It takes
to do
a long time to learn.
That guy was doing this for 20 years, and he was writing about it in books, and he was writing different strategies on how to get shit with the law of attraction. You know,
the world is mad, isn't it? It's like, is it mad to think that someone just fucking said to himself one of the days, I'm just gonna start learning and
his story is actually funny because he was a millionaire. He was a 22-year-old millionaire in London, and he wasn't happy with what he was in the jeans business. That fella,
jeans.
Yeah, he was making jeans. Yeah, but he back in the day, that was in the I can't remember the year. Could have been in the 60s, right? But back in the day when he was importing jeans, nobody had fucking jeans. Jeans was like now, you know, the
I even had rips in their arse.
Jeans were a super hot product back then, right? So he made a ton of money, but it didn't make him happy. He had his Rolls Royce, he had this, he had that, but he wasn't happy. He said what he did, he took a suitcase full of money. He took a key of his apartment in central London, which was worth fucking loads of money.
Loads of money, especially there.
He dumped the key into the drain on the street, and he just went on a journey. He went to India, he went somewhere, and he started learning from monks and all these people. And that's when the real spiritual journey went. And he wrote all about this in books. I got shivers when I remind myself about
it. Is it that powerful?
Yeah, very. It changed my life. Put it that way. Yeah, very.
Definitely.
Very,
oh my god, that sounds
it's all on audiobooks.
Yeah,
Stuart White. Yeah, Money Bible is the best one because he teaches exactly how to manifest money.
So what you say it was called the book? Sorry,
Money Bible.
Can we put that? We put the book there. Money Bible. That's the book.
Yeah, but there's also hundreds of other ones. He wrote. I don't know. I went through about 6 of his books, but he has more. You know, different programs and seminars. This guy was out for a while. The problem is that you never hear about it, right? Because if the TV was to tell you this shit,
the TV won't tell you nothing.
No, the TV is supposed to make you stupid.
The TV is controlled. We are controlled. Well, we're not controlled completely, but the news, the media.
Yeah. Do you know? This is a fact. None of my vans, none of my cars have aerials. I cut them out.
Yeah.
A radio is not allowed in any of my cars. Even when I get into somebody with the car and they have the radio on, I politely ask them to turn it off. Because I don't want to be exposed to any of it.
Radiation, like?
No, not the radiation. I don't want to hear the fucking news. Like, what am I going to hear on it? There's never a valuable information in the radio. It's either somebody got shot, somebody got killed, some cunt is losing his house, or something else is happening.
You're not telling any lies, like, you're telling the truth.
Get the fuck out of my face, you know what I mean? Same with the TV. Every single program in the TV, notice this. Give me one program on TV, one series, where they picture a man as a big, strong, valuable man, a fucking hero walking around. None of that is happening. Look at the Married with Kids, that show from back in the day. The guy is a little pussy with his fucking hand in the jug.
Who?
Married with Kids, the old stuff.
Yeah.
Another one, Simpsons. The man, there's no alphas in this stuff. That's why they want the population to be all this population of pussies.
Yeah.
Because if you have Andrew Tate covers it
Here
perfectly.
we go. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because if you have a population of pussies, nobody's gonna fight for their freedom.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Look at the countries, Iran and all these countries where things are a little bit different. If shit hits the fan in the government, all the husbands say to the wife, right, you fucking clean the dishes. I'm going to make this sort this shit out. But over here, all the men are fucking, equal to the women here. And we sit on the couch afraid of their life. You know what I mean?
But do you think that is the way of the world moving forward where everyone is equal? Or are you not that you're against it, but you're saying that men are more...
Men should be masculine. Men should be alpha. Men should be fighting for it. It's not woman's job. Woman's job, look, you have to look what happened back in the day when people were cavemen. Man was supposed to kill the fucking animal, bring it on the table, chop it up, and pass it on to the woman. And it was her job to feed me with that food and make sure everything around us is perfect. She goes, pick the berries, man goes and kills, right? What the fuck is happening now?
But do you think you would have to find a woman that would... like say Pamela agrees with what you say though, so she the one that's at home making your dinners and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, I actually don't follow the rule because I told her that she's not allowed to cook because time is too valuable. but generally speaking, I think everybody should be like that. You know what I mean? Well, it depends,
But now, as like PC culture, everything has to be politically correct, and it is, as you said, and Andrew Tate does say it as well.
Who makes the rules? That's the problem. Who makes the rules?
Who does make the rules?
So the rules are brought to us subconsciously. We don't even know that somebody's implementing this because
subliminal thoughts.
Yeah, because we've been taught by TV all our standards. Where did think about all the bad stuff that you've learned? everything that we know that's bad came through the TV or the radio. That's why I'm
That's
against
true.
it, and I will always speak bad about it, and I will always encourage people not to watch TV. In fact, when I roll out my business course, the very first step will be how to unfuck your brain, how to plug yourself out, because you
Do
cannot
tell me.
you cannot do what I do and watch TV every night. You can't.
So what do you do? What do you do? Like in your spare, like do you have
I
spare
don't
time?
have spare time.
Like what do you do when you get to bed?
Every single minute of my life is improving my business.
Yeah.
Even when we have a Saturday or Sunday off, what do? We go to my studio, we prick around, or we go to her studio. Yeah,
Evenings
maybe in the evening we have a few doobies. I don't smoke a lot of weed, but Pamela is a Snoop Dogg basically. So
There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
I don't drink, so.
Yeah,
but
you
she
have to
doesn't
have
drink,
something.
though.
If you don't drink, you smoke. It's one or the other.
you know, so I might have on the weekend. I might have a few,
But that's your release. That's allowed. You're allowed to have the release
yeah,
because
but
you're.
other than that, if you want to be successful, people just have this in their head that working 8 hours and come back home and do something. But you need to remember, there's not one person in the world who is truly successful and work 8 hours a day.
You know what? I'm in that mind frame at the minute. As I say to myself, I'm a qualified plumber, right? But I work from 7 to 4, and then I always say, the boys just say to me, "Why don't you just go out and work for yourself?" I says, after 4 o'clock, I don't want to be working.
Why?
I just know what it is. I think it's laziness, and I'm set in my ways.
Yeah, no, you're comfortable.
Yeah,
You're comfortable.
Yeah.
You didn't hit your rock bottom. That's what I'm saying.
that's probably it.
Yeah, you fucking hit your rock bottom. You'll know all about it. All the people who I've invited to my podcast so far, all of them had a rock bottom. All of them, almost 70% of them have been homeless, including me.
Right.
I mean,
You've been homeless, yeah?
Yeah, I slept in the back of the van here.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 times.
So that's probably what it is. I haven't been humbled.
Yeah.
Humbled you.
Yeah. That's why that's why they always say, if you have money, if you make money, do fucking not give it to your kids just like that, because you're gonna destroy the
Exactly,
kids.
yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna roll out with my own book. I'm gonna write a book.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, writing, every fucking idiot can write a book, but in order for the book to sell, it has to be a winner. It has to be
I
valuable.
love this straight talking. I love it.
So my book is gonna be called Real Son, Stepson.
Real son, stepson.
Yeah, because there
look
is a
out
book-
for that, people.
There
Sounds
is
like
a book called Rich Dad and Poor Dad, right? Have you heard of that book?
No,
Oh, for fuck's sake, boys.
Sorry
Come
about
on,
that.
It's a fucking classic. The Rich Dad...
I don't read books, brother.
Yeah, but you can listen to it, fuck. The Rich Dad Poor Dad basically explains the 4 quadrants, right? So when you're starting your career, you can be either working somewhere as an employee or be self-employed.
Right.
So you're in this area, so
Yeah.
that means you're always going to be working, because even if you're self-employed, you're still not a businessman, because you're
No, you're
the
still subby off someone.
Yeah, but the moment you break your leg, you're not making money. So that's not a business. That's just, you build yourself a fancy jail, basically. That's what it is. But the other quadrant is a business owner and an investor.
Right.
So that's what I do. I'm a free man. Like, I can go to Spain tomorrow for 2 weeks, and I don't have to answer one phone call, because all my business is
still
on a
running
full and
themselves.
absolute autopilot. There is
That's brilliant.
yeah, there's even one guy who looks after all of them, so I don't even have to solve much problems. I just focus on improving everything. Right?
You're just a face.
Yeah, I'm the face. I make
Yeah.
sure that the phone rings and everything is smooth. That's my job. You know what I mean?
You seem to have a lot going on, and you feel it seems like you have everything in order, and
Yeah, but that's
a good
the
way
power.
to have.
That's the power of education. Multiplied.
As you go,
but multiplied. Like, people don't realize. People think I fucking these audiobooks. Oh, he's read 1 or 2. No, I'm talking about doing it for 10 years, sometimes even 3-4 hours a day. Because when I'm going to Cork to price a job 3 hours each way, what the fuck? Do you think I listen to radio? No, I listen to audiobook. That's 6 hours of learning on one fucking journey. Imagine doing that for 10 years. Now imagine
that's a lot of information.
Time is a big part of it, isn't it? Like,
Time is key.
People just want it to happen straight away, but
that doesn't work. That works on
fucking-
Instagram, the crypto guys or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. You know what I mean? Like,
But did you get into that? Did you the crypto and
No, but I will.
NF
I had on my podcast
NFT.
Dinny Collins, who's a crypto guy, who's a Bitcoin fella,
yeah.
and he's actually one of the Bitcoin guys who makes it happen, because he rolled up in this fucking big i8 BMW.
Yeah.
It can be done, like, if you do.
The thing about the crypto and buying Bitcoin is, the truth about buying Bitcoin is, don't be thinking that you're going to buy Bitcoin and you're going to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
You have to sit on it.
Buying Bitcoin is basically putting your money somewhere else and hoping that it's going to grow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What Dinny said is that whoever buys Bitcoin will win if he keeps it for more than 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Because whoever lost on it just bought it and sold it. You know what I mean? But the thing is that you
have to sit on it. You have to
Patient,
wait.
be
The track
patient.
record is, I think, 12 years, he said. And, whoever in the 12 years kept the Bitcoin for more than 3 years never lost.
Imagine being that person back in the day when it was going for 100 euros.
There was a time when it was going for €1, for $1.
Yeah, sure.
$1.
Wasn't there a story about some outfit he fucking
He lost the codes to his.
He
to
lost
his
the things, and he
imagine being
he
that
had,
man.
He had 3 million or something.
No,
sitting
it
there,
was
there?
300 million.
Was it?
300 million, yeah. I think
God.
since
And you couldn't get into it.
till this day, he's around the skipyard and he's turning over everything.
Fuck
They're looking for it, yeah.
Because it can't be cracked. It can't be hacked. It can't be anything.
That's the beauty about Bitcoin, because even the dodgies, or people who handle big amounts of cash.
Yeah.
The problem with it is that if you're doing dodgy deals, not that I do any, but I'm just telling you the way.
Yeah.
If you're doing any likes of that. If you want to bring 300,000 euros from here to the UK, you're gonna have trouble because you can't bring it on the plane. The moment you bring over $5,000, they're gonna put you on the side and
say what's going on here.
What the fuck did you come by this cash?
Exactly.
Did you pay tax on it, you little fucker? They're gonna ask you that. But when you have a Bitcoin can be loaded onto your wallet. And
there you go. It's into your phone. There you go.
No transfers, no wallet. So it has its advantages,
Do you think though? So would you say you're a person that carries cash, or do you double tap your phone and tap
cash?
Yeah, cash man. So
yeah,
what do you think about cashless?
Cash is what?
Well, the moment this rolls out here, I'm buying a fucking shotgun. I'm gonna fucking start shooting. No, I'm only joking. But I'm completely against it.
That went sideways.
I'm totally against it. Cash needs to exist. Why? Beautiful example. This little fella, James, that we have started with us now.
Yeah.
How the fuck am I going to pay him if I'm not going to pay him cash from my own wage?
Yeah,
I have to pay him cash.
Of course.
How the hell is the lady who picks fucking eggs somewhere, she has 10 chickens and she's selling them on the street, how the hell is she going to make money?
That's true.
Just a simple example.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying. Do you think, it's obviously probably conspiracy or something, but
I know about conspiracy.
So much, but do you think, the governments, the big higher powers will try and get rid of cash itself and it go into technology and it be tapped, right?
Put your fucking, you're sitting down, listen to this, right?
But
it's not some high fucking powers. We know who it is. It's the World Economic Forum. They are based in Davos. It's a bunch of billionaires who are super rich.
In Davos?
Including Bill Gates, including elites, and including some politicians who are crooked. That's how all the COVID fucking restrictions, that's how all of that is implemented in the countries. Guys on the internet say it. Andrew Tate made a beautiful statement about it. He was in Romania, and he said he has his friend politician, and he asked him what the fuck is going on with this COVID bollocks in this country.
He was just flying around private jets.
Said, listen, these guys came in from WEF, they gave us a bunch of money to implement this shit, and that's what we're doing.
Fuck's sake.
Some countries didn't go for it. That's why COVID didn't exist in some countries. And the funny part is, who cured COVID?
That's exactly Putin.
Yeah, the moment he invaded Ukraine, COVID disappeared, didn't it?
That's true. You don't even hear about the Ukrainian or what's it called, Ukrainian Russia anymore. You don't hear about the war going on. Is it still going on? Where is it?
Still going, yeah.
It's a big distraction. Look. But anyway, those fuckers, they're planning big things.
What'd you say? Davos?
Yeah.
Is Davos not out fucking...
Davos, it's in Switzerland, right? So Klaus Schwab is the founder of the WEF. WEF stands for World Economic Forum. But World Economic Forum is just a fancy name for the New World Order. Right, so the New World Order has been out there. The book has been written about it a long time ago. It's very hard to come by. I've read it, right? But what they say is specific plan. This is what they're doing. So they want to enslave all the middle class, all the people who can afford fucking Gucci, all the people who can, just live normal life. They'll be gone and they'll be very, very low, right? So they'll be just very rich and very poor. And this is what's happening. That's why we have inflation. Inflation is a specific tool that they just picked and they fucking use. Because inflation only happens when you start printing large amounts of money out of nowhere. So back in the 1940s, every dollar was backed by a gold coin, right? So when I think which president was that? Fucking it doesn't matter. One of the presidents said, right, we're gonna take the dollar of the gold standard, and they said they just started printing money, and that's when the shit started hitting the fan. But
because he printed too much money.
Yeah, you can't. Every time you print it, but you need to understand how much they're printing. Nobody understands that. Nobody understands the scale of this situation. Because all the time since the dollar has been out there, been printed, in the past 2 years, they printed more than 40 or 50% of all the money. And they're giving it away.
Fucked,
how many billions did they give to the Ukraine? Billions here, billions here. And every billion that they print, it lowers the value of the other dollar.
Everything just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping.
Keeps dropping. And the worst thing that happens, so Klaus Schwab says openly, this is not a conspiracy, by the way, guys. Go onto WEF and Google this shit. Klaus Schwab says Klaus Schwab says that by 2030 you will own nothing and you will be happy. The way you will own nothing is that they're planning to take all the houses away from people. people, and this is happening now. Joe Doyle is a beautiful example who was on RTE, and he said that landlords are escaping the property market because it doesn't make sense anymore. So your interest rates are going up. So, but when they go up, that means, so let's say you buy a house today over here and your mortgage is €800. When the interest rates go up, your mortgage is not €800. It might be $2,000 in a few years.
That's mad.
And they will take the houses off people. But the thing is that they want to take the houses of the landlords and they want to give it to the government, right?
So
but
they can make money.
But it's not really government. It's BlackRock. BlackRock is a private company. So it looks like it's government, but it's not, right? And they want to take the houses off people. So, but what they're going to do is, that's why the tenants have more rights. That's why they're doing all this rights thing. Because right now, if I live in a house and Pamela lives next door to me and I own the house, but she's renting. If the two landlords if my bank tells me to fuck off because I'm not making my payments, they smoke me out the same day. But if Pamela doesn't pay her rent,
she can stay.
She can be there for at least 2 years. Nobody can fucking touch her.
And the squatters' rights and all that.
Squatters' rights and all that. That's why they're doing it. That's why a lot of landlords are escaping the property market. And this is going to get worse and worse over the next 7 years. That's why I don't even own my own house.
So that's exactly what I'm going to say in there. So you don't own your house, but that's what Andrew Tate says. He says he wouldn't.
Owning a house is stupid. Well, no, look.
It's not stupid.
It really depends what way you look at it and how much money you have. But if I was to just buy a fucking mortgage now and buy a house, why the fuck do I need that? I pay fuck all rent in my house. You know what I mean? I got it a long time ago. I'm happy there. You know what I mean? I want to buy a house, but the house that I want, I can't afford it now. My house is going to cost $2 million. What am I going to buy now? A smelly house for $500,000 in the Arsehole of Blanchardstown? I don't want that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You have high standards and high goals. I can just sense from it.
My house, I have it written down specifically what house I want, how many sockets in the kitchen I'm going to have, how many cars in the garage, what cars. I know it all.
You are a manifestation.
Have you ever done a dream board?
I have a dream board and I have a dream book. I rewrite them every morning.
In my ma's house.
No, you used to. You should be doing it.
Well,
we're gonna get a whiteboard here. We're gonna do one.
It was more of a family thing because obviously I don't live here anymore. So it used to be a thing. So every year we'd all fucking.
You should.
We get a big board.
Yeah, but don't do it every year. That's the mistake.
Mistake.
This should be done weekly, not every year. If
weekly.
you do it weekly, the thing about writing your goals, right? If you write them, you have to write them in the present tense. I do. I own. It already happened. But don't overthink it. What you need to do is you need to write it down and you put it away. It's like putting fucking cake in the oven. You forget about it for the hour. Right? So you write it down, you put it away. Come back the next morning. Don't rewrite it from the stuff that you just wrote, but rewrite it from your head. Whatever happens between you touching the pen to the paper, some vibration goes away. I don't have the exact words to tell you this in English, but I could tell you this in Polish. But whatever happens, it attracts shit into your life, and I live by it.
Like a magnet.
I live by it, and there's not one goal that I have set for myself which I didn't get.
But you set the types of goals, like are they unrealistic goals, but are they short-term goals?
Have to be realistic.
Okay. So they have to be achievable. So
that's exactly what I'm
trying to say. So you have to look around, and you have to look at. So basically, every day I drive around, I don't listen to music, I don't talk bollocks. I just look around and I look and some cunt is doing that. You know, I could do that. All right, let's write it down. I mean, like, what is it gonna take? Let's make a specific plan. Okay, so he's doing this. He probably got it over there. Let's ring them. Oh, I ring them and I fucking make a plan. You know what I mean? Just be nosy. Fucking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I do all day, every day. Even when I'm looking around me, they're building this big apartment block right now, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, this is what I want. I want to be building a big apartment block in the next 10 years. Looks like easy peasy job. You get an architect to design the shit. You buy the land and you give the job to some cunt, and you just watch it being built.
Exactly. Yeah. It's simple as.
Because that's how
when
they
you break it down,
Look at the big Facebook building up in Clowney. I haven't seen Zuckerberg with a hard hat over there. So I mean,
that'd be a good site though. Imagine. That'd be brilliant.
That's how they think. You know, you know. Delegate everything. You know what I mean? I delegate absolutely fucking everything. Because, you know, you have to realize how much your money is, how much your hour of your time is worth. So I value my time about €200 an hour in the day. So anything that I do, if it's not worth €200 an hour, I don't do it. I don't cook for myself. I don't even drive myself sometimes. Because why would I? If I'm going to Cork on Donegal, I get one of my lads to drive me. He's driving me. I can be on TikTok doing something, listen to a book.
That's all. That's all.
I mean, so, you know, delegating time is a very important thing. Joe Doyle covers it perfectly in his book. Do you know? Do you know Joe Doyle?
Joe Doyle. I do know that name. Joe
Joe
Doyle.
Doyle is a business mentor from Dublin, right? I took his course, I read his book. I'm going to have him on my podcast. He's a success guy, he's a property guy. And that's what he covers in his book.
Joe
so basically,
Doyle.
you need to establish an hour, a 10 euro an hour tasks, 100 euro an hour task, and 1,000 euro an hour tasks. So all the 10 and 100 should be delegated, and you should be just...
I do. I seen him on TikTok loads of times.
Yeah, I love him. He's a great guy.
Do you know that fella? Yeah, that's him there, yeah.
Yeah, he's from Cold
There's a
Dog.
lot of people doing that now, isn't there? Like business TikToks. Like the likes of fucking all this.
Let us just see.
Yeah. Do you want some?
Let us smell it. I can't drink it. Sober October, still going strong.
Boys, just have a lot to learn. You can't do a good podcast without a bit of whiskey. I'm not talking about getting drunk. Just kind of tips.
This man here,
that's how
Monksy
the
will
truth
do it for. No, we do smoke
usually
or we
do,
do drink.
but-
You know.
I don't know what's going on with us the last while. We're just trying.
I think we're not. It's because of me. I'm going through this sober October. Right, I'm just
Yeah, I
because I
think
was
we're
going.
on the
I was
same
going on.
wavelength.
I was going on a different path. I was drinking and messing too much, and I said to myself, "Look, I'm gonna stop it here."
Yeah.
And now I have a son. I have a 6-year-old son, and so the weekends are dedicated to him. Bring him football and spend more time with him instead of waking up with.
It's open.
Big dirty
Instead of waking up with a dirty hangover,
Yeah.
headaches, and so
Do you know
on,
what
fresh now weekends, you know.
Do you know what my take on drinking alcohol is? And I'm a recovered session head, right? I did it all, right? Right now, I drink every once in 6 weeks. Poof. You know, even if somebody begs me and there's a fucking birthday party, I just don't do it. Once in 6 weeks, that's it. Because if
You're stuck in your ways, aren't you? You won't say.
I'm like a tank.
Yeah, you're
Once the
fucking
decision is
headstrong.
made, I'm going.
Do you
That's
do you eat petrol sandwiches?
What?
Do you eat petrol sandwiches?
Petrol sandwiches?
diesel sandwich.
You're a tank. You're off that way.
No, you have to have some sort of rules, because if you don't, other people's rules will rule you.
Exactly.
If you don't make goals for yourself, you will be working for somebody else's goals.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is a good way of putting it, though.
Yeah, if you don't make a plan, and that's why I'm gonna have in my business course, I'm gonna have a specific plans on how to start dreaming. Because I remember the first book I told you that when I downloaded it, I wanted to be this guy and this guy.
Yeah.
So the next book I read was a Brian Tracy's book about goal setting. I think it was Eat That Frog. And what the guy says is about goal setting technique. You have to write it down. But you know, I was 21. I was stupid as hell. I didn't know what I want, and I started writing what do I want, and I didn't know what I want. So you know, and this is gonna be so key when it comes to Underbody Kings, because that's how Underbody Kings started realistically.
Right.
So, but this was way back. This was like 15 years ago. So I was.
Is that how long? Sorry for cutting across here. Is that how long Underbody Kings
No,
ago?
Underbody Kings is only 2 years old. But listen to this story. That's why law of attraction works.
Right.
I'm 100% sure. Because
Right, I'm all
back
in
then,
here. I'm listening.
Because back then I was so stupid. I believed anything that I read, and I read that you can manifest shit. And I believed it, right? So what I did, I started manifesting something out of nowhere, and all I could see was, so I was living in Ongar, and I opened my window, and I could see this direct building there. It was like empty building, some shite over there, and I was thinking, right, what business could I have there in the future? You know, I was just writing some goals. I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know anything about dreaming or anything. I said, oh, I'd love to have that could suit a car business, and I was picturing that I'm doing some cars. I'm fixing something. There's big banners there, so I'm doing some videos there, and then I'm doing franchise with it and all. And then, you know, I wrote it down, I rewrote it, and I forgot about it, and I don't even have that piece of paper anymore. But what happened exactly 6 years later, out of nowhere, the garage just sprouted. the way I opened the
Just
garage,
up.
the garage opened out of nowhere, and it's exactly that what I visioned back then. It's exactly to the fucking T. If I found that book and the piece of paper, what I'm doing now, it's exactly that.
Oh,
right?
wait, that's mad, isn't
And
it?
the way I opened the garage, it was also out of nowhere. I didn't make a decision that I want a garage. What I did was, I had a Land Rover Discovery. I paid 40 grand for it. And it broke my heart because it was breaking every few minutes. The injectors used to go on it. The turbos, 2 turbos went at the same time as well.
Way.
So it cost me tons of money in repairs. And I said, fuck this Land Rover. I want to get something reliable.
Yeah.
So
What
I
you
said,
go for?
I want a G-Wagon. But then new G-Wagon is like 300 grand. And I wasn't in that market yet.
Yeah.
So I bought myself a classic G-Wagon. You know, and I bought it and it needed restoration. So I started ringing about who's going to make it for me. Nobody wanted to take it on. And the only guys that were going to take it on, they were screaming between 20 to 30,000 for the restoration. And when I heard that, I was like, fucking ching ching. You know, €2 coins, 30 grand for restoring that? Yeah, that's good. But anyway, I didn't make any calls. So I found some guy And he recommended this Polish guy who was a welder to start it.
There we go. We are on the ball anyway
so
now.
I went to his garage, and it was during the COVID pandemic when there was the first lockdown where nobody worked, right?
Yeah.
We did some work, but that 2 weeks I didn't work.
Yeah.
So I said to the guy, "Hey, listen, do you mind if I come over to your garage? I'll help you prick around. You know, my dad was a welder. I know my way. I don't know how to weld, but I can help you with shit. I can prepare something, sound something, you know, and I make a few pictures. It's my car. I wanted to be around it." And he said, "Yeah, no problem." Came in, and I was yapping to him for about a week. And he was saying, "Oh, I'm closing this business down because it's not going for me after the 2 weeks. And when I finish your car, I'm going to close it." And I looked around it and I said, "I can help you with it. I can get you work."
Yeah.
And he says, "No, I've had enough of these people coming here," because this guy used to do everything. He used to do clutch repair, gearbox repair,
everything,
fucking tires, this and that. And I said, "I could help you. All you have to do is you have to apply the 80-20 rule to this business." And this was a Polish guy who doesn't read or anything. He watches TV, so he was like, "Oh, what you mean?" And I said, "Well, there's this 80-20 rule."
80-20 rule.
Yeah, it's 80-20 rule, which says that in every business, in every shop, or in every fucking industry, there is a business, and in this business, you might have 80% of the products that will be accountable for 20% of the profits, and you have 20% of the profits, which, you know, the other way around.
Right.
So basically, I looked around the garage and I said, right, stop doing everything that doesn't bring profit and just focus on one thing that brings the highest profit. I said, what brings the most money here? And he said, the welding. We charge this much and this much an hour. You can make a couple of grand a week. And I said, why don't you fucking stop doing this and just do that?
Just focus on one thing.
Fuck this, I made my decision. And he said, if you want to buy this garage, you take it and you do it.
And that's the garage you bought?
Yeah, and I bought it for 5 grand of him. And 5 grand to me at that time was like a spare change, because I was making mad money back then, you know. And still am, but like 5 grand is not a lot of money. So I bought that garage off him, and I made a deal with him that he's gonna be working with me in that garage.
So you actually made some serious deal there. You got yourself a garage and a good worker to make you more money.
He wasn't a good worker. He left then, you know.
Oh, he's not a good worker.
He thought he was good, but compared to the level where we're now, it wasn't the quality.
But he knew the run of the place now, so it was a good thing to start with.
So now we have 10 staff. We're doing incredible work. We have made some mistakes in the past, but people who don't make mistakes don't make shit.
You're doing roofing as well.
Yeah, that's the commercial. That's my first business. So that's commercial roofing. That's where the money comes from.
Yeah. So that felt roofs in, or what would?
What you do all weathering and all this?
So we recondition existing roofs on the commercial buildings.
All asbestos roofs and all.
Asbestos as well. I actually developed that system. Took me 5 years. Took me 7 years to develop that system.
I was working on a building in Mountjoy Square, and we were on it for fucking. I think we were on it for probably a month, in around a month, and then the big fucking meeting happened. Then all the toils and all, I was picking them up and all, fucking them around the place.
Yeah,
and then they come in and asbestos.
They
were like, "Oh, go and get checked," and all. They saying, "Nah, it'd be grand." Fucking.
What the square?
Yeah, so
just
you know,
toil, so
people think asbestos is just in the asbestos roofs, but it's not. You know, asbestos was used in a lot of
a lot of old buildings have that, man.
Of old buildings, you know, even the fuse boxes around fucking electric meters, they used to be asbestos in some houses. A lot of stuff would be asbestos.
A lot of old timers on sites got like bad infections and all from.
They got all lung infections and all, wasn't it?
Yeah, because asbestos is only dangerous if you breathe it. That's when it happens. That's when it should happen.
For us, we stupid me smashing the toils and all. Fucking having the crack.
Look, it's a little bit of exaggeration. You're not gonna die.
Yeah, you won't die.
Like in Poland, nobody.
But
you know, in Russia they still produce asbestos and they still put it on roofs.
They just don't give a bollocks.
Yeah, it's not dangerous over there.
They're made different. They're
different gravy.
They fucking run the deers fucking when they're child. There was a video on the internet I saw when they bring children in preschool and they bring them onto snow and they make them. That basically makes people stronger, because you have to realize that we've been pussied. I mean. We have to be exposed to bacteria. We have to be exposed to cold. We have to be doing all these things, because if we don't, our body doesn't. Our immune system will be destroyed. No, it's destroyed. That's why you can really destroy a child if you fucking you boil everything for them and do all that. He doesn't have any bacteria around.
You have to let them get sick.
And then when you let him into the world, then the baby gets sick. So you know you need to understand natural way.
That's
of living.
a little Irish saying, though, isn't it, from years ago? I'm not, and I don't mean like dirty child. They used to say a dirty child is a healthy child, which is.
Yeah. That's true.
That's true. What you're talking about.
In Poland, there was my father had a saying: if you try to save the whip, you'll waste the child.
Yeah,
it's true. My dad used to beat me the fuck out. You know what I mean? First doing stupid stuff.
You know what? We all got a big smack of something. I'm
talking about a few belts on the ass when you come back after a few drinks. But over here, it doesn't happen anymore. Kids cannot be touched over here.
What you say? Your dad after a few drinks came home. So what age are you having drinks at?
I started probably having fun at 14 or 13. You know.
It's
Yeah, I
probably,
was 15.
I probably had an old wicked or something
No,
at that age.
that's because my brother was older, was 7 years older, so I would hang around
Yeah,
with his
of course,
friends.
yeah.
I had 12. My first ever drink with 12 bottles of Miller. Do you know Miller?
Yeah.
Miller,
Twelve
no one
bottles.
drinks Miller anymore, don't you
No,
know?
12 bottles of Miller I had my first night.
That's what Pamela would drink, small little bottles. Miller, yeah, little bottles of Miller, yeah.
Miller?
Yeah, but it's small bottles. That's what you would drink. Like you wouldn't be, she wouldn't be.
Would you be you'd be a beer drinker, would you?
I don't like beer.
You
No.
don't?
No, I prefer whiskey.
Yeah, I like
whiskey.
vodka.
Vodka?
But she's not allowed to drink when she's with
We
me.
could go crazy. Crazy.
I can smoke, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause you go mellow.
mellow.
When you talk about some girl that is loco on alcohol, she's really like.
Why'd you start busting
I'm
people up?
talking guns and knives
I'm
out.
fighting as well, you know.
Yeah, you look like you're gonna take the head off.
You box?
Yeah, she
We
fucking
only
swung
joined
at me a few times.
So me and Monks only started doing boxing recently.
I'm boxing 5 years.
Her,
I'm doing a white collar
it's
event
different
soon.
fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, the same story. You can't do it for a week or a month. You have to do it for a few years.
And King Gaffo, you're getting smashed up on the second of the.
He's fighting on the 2nd of November.
Here, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
He's
Inside here?
Inside here?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Like here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, can I get just the ice first?
But yeah, I'm liking all this like take no bullshit like type of mindset that you have. It's you have something laser focused, and if you think about that, you're going for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's what
That's a
people need.
serious mindset to have.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'd like to have that mindset, but I think I'm too laid back, and I'm too. The word I'd say is lazy.
You don't have goals. That's what it is.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So everything starts with having goals.
I've written goals, but I just writ them.
I
And
know, but are the goals backed by why? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
why are they there? Do you fucking need them, or are they just supposed to tickle your ego?
oh, I
So,
like
if
it.
your goals are supposed to just tickle your ego, if you're writing in a goal, I want to have a car just because I want people in fucking Jobstown to see that I have a nice car, that goal ain't gonna fuck come true.
That's
the
true.
goal needs to be backed by something, and that something needs to have a good energy behind it as well. So your goal should be to help. Your goal should be to do something, and just as a side goal, have some fucking fancy stuff with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the goal should be always helping people, helping something, and doing something. But on the back of that helping, there needs to be something valuable for society.
Exactly, yeah.
Then the law of attraction works, you know?
I like it. The
But
law of
before this goes out of my head, yeah.
No.
Before, oh no, we'll wet that thing.
I'll have a little blow of that.
They call me wet lips. I'm not allowed to touch them. I was soaked about. That's what they call me.
I'll just smell it.
But hey,
Hey.
I like the smell of weed. I don't like
Yeah, my
I don't
dad's
like
the
being
same.
stoned. I like the smell of it and the fact of smoking, but being stoned is not for me.
Whenever we smoke in here, my dad will come out and say, "Oh, can I smell that?" And you just come out and smell it, and then go back inside. But here, before it goes out of my head, I want to ask about that little young fella. You start.
What is his name? What is the little lad's name?
Johnny or something,
James,
is it?
the one in
James,
Underbody
he's a
Kings.
gas- he is a gas
we were
little
with him
dude.
today. He's a great lad. So I call him out on a Saturday. We were in my recording studio today. We did some pictures because he's gonna be promoting a lot of the clothes. We have our own clothing stuff.
Yeah,
coming
it's
out,
nice
you know
stuff,
what I mean?
isn't it?
It's nice merch. We're gonna come out with merch soon as well.
Yeah, you should. You know, there's no reason. If you have followers, remember that each one of your followers is your potential clients.
Yeah.
Like that's why I feel sorry, and I would love to help all these girls on the internet. You know, flashing their boobs, just doing all these dances. Because
Yeah.
on the end of every one of these stupid dances, there should be a product that they should be selling. Because why the fuck is 600?
So what do you think of OnlyFans?
Yeah.
Women doing OnlyFans?
They're doing OnlyFans.
No, like women in general doing OnlyFans.
Oh, so that's why they're
Opinions?
doing it. Oh, I know nothing about OnlyFans.
No, you.
so-
Think of it.
She wouldn't go on OnlyFans. She's.
But would you not think that would be an angle for the two yous to go on to make massive money?
I told her that she can if she
A
wants
good
to.
looking man, a good looking woman.
I told no, she's no. She's
Would you
not like
would
that.
you sell
She's-
pictures of your feet?
No,
Men are into that.
You'd be creeped out
She's
thinking.
making, well, she's making money. I have money. Like we have money. Like why would the fuck?
Ambition, you know, I'm tattoo artist. I'm doing something.
It's about ambition.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know how to use your hands or brain, then do OnlyFans. OnlyFans, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with OnlyFans, but OnlyFans is the last fucking step. Do you know what I mean? If you
True.
have if you're fucking in
If
the
you have
water
nothing going
and
for
you're
you.
drowning and you have no fucking nothing else to grab, then you grab the OnlyFans. That's the last fucking thing I would grab. Do you know what I mean?
Did you hear that, ladies?
Well, yeah, we were talking about that poor young fella. Now we're talking about OnlyFans.
Nothing against OnlyFans at all, though.
Yeah.
It's great. Like girls are making serious money. You know, there's a girl out there who's making 60 grand a week by selling her own farts in jars.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Would you buy a jar?
I bought one.
He don't need it. He don't need it.
If she's watching me there, send one to our podcast studio. I'll do a testing. I'll do a opening, unboxing.
Old protein farts.
Yeah.
There's a girl out there who sells her Joxer shorts as well. This G-string,
Yeah.
she has to wear them for the week and then she sells them.
I think I'd be creeped out knowing that someone is like
Well, not if you got 10 grand for them.
at themselves.
Well,
like,
if you got
over
10
their
grand
feet.
for the Joxer shorts, would you care?
Yeah, I'd sell my jocks, sorry.
Remember, there's sick people out there, and there's
There is.
people out there.
There's
But
a
there's-
market for everything.
Yeah.
That is there's a
Yeah.
market and place for everything.
Yeah,
There's
people
sick,
don't realize that. Yeah,
there is sick men out there that are just horny out.
Yeah.
That want to buy women's jocks,
And they have a lot
women's
of money
socks,
as well.
and they have money to burn. Or else they're probably just on the labour. Here's €250 for them jocks.
that'll be like the Jobestown version of OnlyFans.
yeah. No, but here, will you let me get back to this young man? Stop talking
So
about women
James,
on
yeah,
OnlyFans.
he's a great lad. He started with us recording the videos. I can see a great career ahead of us because I already told him.
Yeah, he's so confident, isn't he?
Yeah, and I already told him what he can.
He
do
loves
when
cars.
finishes
You can
school.
see he loves it.
He loves cars, yeah. And I already told him that when he finishes school, I'll give him a job. What I want to do with him is I want to do car sales,
Use him as a car salesman.
Yeah, but I thought, like, people think to sell cars, you need to have cars,
Yeah.
Bollocks to that. I've developed a different way of selling cars.
Right, tell me the development.
I don't know if I want to say it because I want to do it
Oh,
myself.
don't tell people.
Right, I'll share it, maybe. I don't give a fuck if anybody does it because I know I'll do it better anyway.
Here you go.
So-
Hey.
So what you do, I said it on my podcast, I think. No, I said it on my Instagram. So what you do is you start a TikTok account, right?
Okay.
And you ring 10 garages who sell cars every day. And you say, Mr. Such and Such, my name is blah, blah, blah on TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I come over to you, just record few videos about cars and I will sell them for you free of charge under the condition that you will provide me with a commission for every sold car. So you don't buy the cars, you just drive up there, make a few TikToks, make sure they go viral, and when they're sold, you just need to keep track of the
Give me
sales.
money.
And then you get commission. I even found a way of keeping the track for the sold cars. So you could, in a day, in 8 to 10 hour day, you could drive to about 15 to 20 dealerships a day, and you could record 10 TikToks in each one. I did the maths on it. I could do it. 10 in each dealership. You could get 15 a day.
This is some formula. This is
Yeah, and this would have to be spread over 5 different TikTok accounts, just not to be overcrowded. So you post one every 1 hour, and this will go viral, and cars will be sold, and you will be a millionaire in 5 years if you do that.
My God, that is some way.
So-
What do you think
so
of that,
that-
monks? Do you want to go and do that?
So I want to do it with James, but he's still in school. I wanted to do it with the previous guy. What's his name? Wally. But Wally was something wrong. Wally didn't want to be part of Underbody Kings.
He didn't want to be part.
No.
Well, that's his fault anyway. He lost.
Yeah,
out.
he didn't. Whatever his reason was, he didn't want.
But yeah, so you saying that you have the algorithm, the algorithm, you have the TikTok sus, you have the social media, because at the moment,
maybe not as much as
You-
other people, but
but you've
TikTok-
been all over my For You page for ages. That's why we were saying we have to get him on.
Yeah,
Like
the thing about TikTok is I don't believe that people don't learn shit. That's why learning is important, because every mistake, every problem, every strategy is out there. You just need to read it and find it and absorb it. Same with TikTok. When I went to TikTok the first day, I read about TikTok. I read about the algorithms. I read about the hashtags. I read how to make the videos. It needs to be between 20 to 40 seconds. The first 3 seconds is when you grab people's attention. Boom, boom, boom. 4 TikToks a day minimum. Hashtags, spread it over 4 hours. It's a simple recipe.
You know the little recipe there as well, don't
you know
you?
what I mean? It's like fucking baking a cake.
Well,
Every dumb fuck can bake a cake if they just follow the recipe. If they actually just, step 1, eggs into this. Right, that's done. Next step,
Yeah, exactly,
next step.
yeah.
If you just follow the fucking steps, you can do anything. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
Of YouTube.
Yeah.
That's the one thing he always says is the most important thing about any video you ever do is the first 3 seconds.
Yeah, because and I'm gonna tell you why. Because people's attention span, so you have your prefrontal cortex in this front part of your brain, which this is the part that's responsible for focus. This is fucked. In everybody.
It's bollocks.
Yeah, it's bollocks, because back in the day people used to read books, people used to do this, people used to do that, but now it's TikTok. You have an instant access
instantaneously in front of you.
it's just poof, 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 and you're getting. There's a part of your brain, with dopamine, endorphins, dopamine, all of them. All of those chemicals are important. So what you're giving yourself is you're giving yourself a lot of endorphins every few seconds. So then you watch one of my TikToks and I talk about reading a book for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you say, right, I have enough of this life, and you pick a book and you read it for 20 minutes, and after 3 seconds, you read the first 2 lines, and your brain is telling you, your brain is basically telling you, what the fuck are you doing, little bitch? Go back to TikTok. Yeah, your brain is telling you this, and you listen to it.
That's why people are hooked on TikTok.
Then look, you can't blame people because this is working in your subconscious mind, not conscious. Your mind has a conscious mind which you're in charge of. Then you have a subconscious mind. You have to be a little bit higher level spiritually to understand subconscious, and then you have a superconscious. So people who've used superconscious, nobody talks about superconscious mind.
I never heard of that before. No.
Well, there you go. People who spoke about superconscious mind, for example, Leonardo da Vinci, for example, Sebastian Bach, for example, Beethoven. So let's say Beethoven. I think it was Beethoven, was it? So he wrote his best symphonies when he was deaf. So he wrote his best symphonies when he was deaf.
I didn't even know he was deaf.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Most people don't know that.
He's deaf.
But then people asked him, how could you write the best music in the world? In the exact, and he wrote He wrote it note perfect. It wasn't like he wrote it and then he looked at it and rewrote it. He wrote it note perfect from start to finish.
That's like a DJ. Sorry for cutting across you. Pete Tong.
And then somebody asked him, how did you do it? And he said that he has used the power of his subconscious mind. He said that the stuff poured through the subconscious mind, through the energy field. Nobody believes in that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is it real or is it to a belief?
It is real because...
No, it's real. But people... Do you know how people classify real? If they fucking show it on the TV...
And see.
No. If they show it on the TV, it's real. If they talk about it on TV, it's not real. That's how people think.
I was only saying this fucking last week. I forgot who I was saying it to. It's not mad what music can do to you.
Yeah.
Like,
so John,
feeling wise.
So what Rockefeller did in the 1900s, he paid a lot of money to change the frequency of music. So the music used to be at 400 something megahertz, and they changed it to a different frequency. All of this is important. You know what I mean?
There's so much in it.
They changed it. John D. Rockefeller also founded the schooling system. So he said that the country doesn't need a nation of thinkers. He needs a nation of laborers. That's why when you go to school, you'll never hear announce of the taxes of the educational taxes. You will never hear anything about goal settings. You'll never hear how to make your girlfriend happy because you're supposed to be a little bitch working somewhere, paying your taxes, and hoping for the best.
That's true.
That's it. That's what the society wants. Society doesn't want
the
people
kids
like
growing up now are fucked.
They are fucked.
They're fucked. They're fucked.
They are so fucked.
Look
They're
at me
screwed.
now. You are fucked.
No,
but you're not. You can change it.
They could be cured, but the problem is that the parents don't even know that they're fucked. People think that this is all normal. Do you know what I mean? What's happening now is a tragedy, you know?
Like, I have a 6-year-old kid, right? And he is a little... He is an iPhone... He has an iPhone 11. He's 6.
Yeah, he's glued to it.
And he's glued to it, and he knows all about the YouTube. He does be sending me little voice notes on WhatsApp. He knows how to WhatsApp, like, do you know what I mean? At 6.
So my dad is fucking 55 and he only knows how to answer the phone.
Do you know what I mean?
I bought my dad. I remember I bought my dad his first phone and I showed him and he's looking at it like that because you know the way.
The glass.
Pull the glasses.
His hands are too short, and he's looking at it. How do you use it? And I said, right, Dad. All you need to know is this green button. When it flashes, just click the green button, and you'll be talking to me.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? They just having it like. The difference between the older and younger now is immense.
Yeah,
even to down to where kids would come out, like me growing up, him growing up, probably as yourselves, you'd be out of your house, out playing in the fields, playing football, climbing trees, hunting bones.
Like my age or the last
kids are on PlayStations, they're on TikToks.
It's gone.
It's gone.
But people don't understand what's gonna happen because it's gonna be even worse. Because now kids at least go to school. Do you know what Klaus Schwab is planning in the WEF? No schools.
Homeschool?
No schools.
Just grow up.
No schools. Metaverse.
Oh, we're going into the
They're
metaverse.
planning to have all the metaverse. That's why, you know what I was doing?
Meta, Facebook,
So,
Mark
you know,
Zuckerberg.
I always, when I plan stuff, I always plan for 5 years ahead. What's going to happen in 10 years ahead? That's the way my brain operates. So
Yeah.
when I'm driving by a city, when I look at schools or petrol station, I'm already thinking, what business could I have in all of the petrol stations? Imagine opening it, because all of the petrol stations will be abandoned. There will be just a couple of them in 5 years. You know, I mean, the way the WEF is going, they will do that. You know, so all of them will be abandoned. What business could you open in a petrol station? You know, abandoned petrol station, because there will be a lot of them soon, you know.
And did you have any ideas?
I have a few floating, yeah, but I don't want to share them here.
That's alright. That's all good.
No, it's just people have to have their own ideas.
Of course.
No, I could say it, but nobody's gonna do it.
No, there's no point.
And same is gonna happen with the schools, I believe, you know, because they don't want people going to schools, you know.
But like from COVID, I think a lot of people learned a lot about themselves and companies as well. Like say like people going into offices all day, but now they're working from home on the laptops and on their computers. Companies like that should say, yeah, actually going forward, I think we'd keep the people working in their houses because they'd save money as well from that. You not think that?
Yeah, sure, that's what fucking most of the banks did, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I do a lot of commercial work on roofs in big commercial buildings, and half of the offices are empty. Well, more than half. Like this big office, we're working for a big insurance company right now. Entire office is empty.
Yeah, there's still people going. Like I still know people that are going in for like an hour on a fucking Wednesday.
Like my mash,
they have to go in for an hour into the office. As fuck, it's something got to do with mental health and all this crack, so they have to go in and do at least an hour in the office, and then they're back at home then for the week.
That's the way my ma works from home as well like for Paddy Power. She just sits.
I don't think it's good. I think people should get out. Yeah, I think people should get out, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, a bit of a routine.
Look, what, like, you know, life is pretty fucking slow life, even if you're going to work in the office. But imagine not even leaving your house and just working fucking some stupid job. Like, how boring your life would become.
Yeah, and you go insane as well. You go insane. You go. You'd want to get out and do something with yourself.
The COVID is another ball game. You know? I believe that all COVID. I don't know if we are allowed to talk about this.
I don't think you'd be able to talk about COVID. To be honest, it'd be taken down, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, let's just leave it out then.
Yeah, take COVID.
No, they can't take it out. They will just put a warning on the account. Yeah. They put a note on the account.
Yeah. But COVID,
it's mad, isn't it?
There's a new strain now of COVID. There's a new strain. There's a mutated strain, I think. But
it's everything. Do you know who is the best source to learn about all that?
Go on.
Russell Brand on his YouTube channel. Now he's on Rumble. That's one guy. Another good place to learn about all that conspiracy and COVID and all that bollocksology is Awaken with JP. Awaken with JP. Right. American guy. That's the second one. Another one is Carl Tuckson, yeah?
Who?
Carl Tuckson. Is that
Carl
his name?
Tuckson?
Yeah. Or Tucker Carlson? What's his name?
Oh, Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson. Is that his name? Yeah. Excuse my language.
That's a nice name though, the way you said it.
Yeah, that sounded
nice. It sounded cool, yeah.
Proper, didn't it?
Carl Tuckson.
Yeah, but like, that's the new thing now. Like, YouTube is taking all these people that are thinking forward, like thinking masculinity and stuff like that, like Andrew Tate, fucking all on Rumble. They're all on Rumble now. I
love Andrew. I did say something bad about him at the start. That's because I have taken stuff out of context, because he's so right in everything that he's saying. And this is exactly what's happening with my channel. I have that in my podcast as well. So I'm recording an hour and a half long podcast, and then I take 30-second clips out of it to put it on TikTok. And then you have idiots on my fucking Instagram and TikTok saying, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. How the fuck are you supposed to make sense of 30 seconds clip of a 1.5 hour video?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what happened to Andrew Tate. Like, he was talking about smashing some board with a nunchucky, but, you know, and that fucking clip went viral. But nobody watched the fucking previous hour of it, where they were showing that this is a stage to fucking act. They were showing... they were making
all stories about it.
Yeah, and then that goes viral, and that's what's happening. But this is the way the marketing is going right now. Marketing is all about 20-second clips and diverting the traffic to the other funnels, you know?
Okay.
Let's get
smack that bleeding Floyd. What is he on about?
I don't know what's going on with him there.
Yeah, so that's the TikTok. I wanted to give you some tips on TikTok as well.
Give me some tips.
I'm gonna tell you my game on TikTok. So I have right now 8 accounts on TikTok for different businesses and different pages, and now I'm gonna triple everything. So every page that I have has to have another 2 pages, and I'm gonna have a special individual person. So right now I employ 2 editors, 1 graphic designer, and I'm gonna have a guy who's gonna be just posting. Yeah, that's his job.
That's some little fleet of men you have there.
Yeah, but you need to have that. You know what I mean? I started with just one guy. I started doing everything myself. That's why I know how to video edit. I know how to do all this. I start myself. So that's how, you know, when you grow in business, you have to do it yourself first, right, and then hire somebody to do it, and so you know that they're not fucking about.
That's true as well.
Because if I didn't do it and I hired somebody, how the fuck could I check them? Like,
Exactly.
What are you doing there? Oh, I'm checking the blah 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 blah, and I could just say, oh, okay, but now I fucking know. Yeah. So what I'm doing with TikTok is I'm gonna get this guy, because do you know the way you have your TikTok account?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is to say that you can only have one?
True.
You could have a hard chats in hats special, hard chats in chats official, blah 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 blah. 3 TikTok accounts. When you post it on 3 of the accounts. One of them will go viral. Exactly. So you're tripling your chances. Yeah. You're tripling your views. You're tripling your chances.
That's very smart, isn't it?
Yoke does that. Fucking Darrett and Amber. They have 3 pages. So do you know Darrett and Amber? No. That young couple on TikTok, they're from Dinner City. So they have, like, he has his own page, she has her own page, and then they have one together. They actually have 2 pages of the 2 of them together. So like one of them is like just these skits that they do, pretend to be a posh couple, one of them's posh and one of them's not, and all this crack. Then they have a separate one of just funny shit that they do, and then they have their own pages. Every page that they have,
it is a good strategy. It's a very good strategy.
Yeah, and that's the key. And remember, what happens when you get blocked? They can flag you. My account has been blocked a few times. I was blocked for 10 days on my TikTok on Underbody Kings. But that's why I said no. I need to have a plan B.
Pop over to your other page then. And
exactly. Catch me here.
They're still walking away on it.
Plus, that's what. And I said it 3 months ago because somebody asked me, Lucas, why do you have so many different businesses? Why do you have fingers in so many different pies? And I said, whoever sticks to one business and one source of income in today's day and age is fucking cuckoo. Because all it takes is one piece of software to be developed and it can put you out of business today. And that's what's happening. That's true. Plus, some cunt can open next door to you, do it 10% cheaper, 10% faster, and 10% better, and poof, you're also out of business.
But that's when someone does that, that's when someone has to have a little fire up in their business.
Look, I don't do that. Even if somebody would open next door to me right now, I wouldn't care, because my social media is so strong that people
you do have a very strong social media.
But I did it on purpose. This wasn't an accident. I knew I have to have it. And you know the real reason why Underbody Kings has such a strong social media, and I'm doing all the clothes and I'm doing all this marketing, is because I poured a serious amount of money. Like that business in Navan didn't have a business plan. I didn't do numbers on it. I didn't do maths on it. And up until to this day, I've invested there close to €500,000, right?
Fuck that.
And it's not making a lot of money. People think that makes great money. It doesn't. It basically gets us by. It makes a few peanuts. Do you know what I mean? But I know that we are about 2 to 3 weeks away from bankruptcy if this phone stops ringing. So let's say the recession hits in tomorrow. Yeah. I'll be out of business there. So I said to myself, right, we have put, and when I say we did, because Pamela used to come there with me. We used to work there on Saturdays, Sundays, 6 o'clock. I used to wake her up. That's why I love her so much, because she's the only girl who I would fucking bring with me, and all she's asked me for is a McDonald's breakfast. And then I can.
Oh, you're vegetarian?
Yes.
So 6 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, Saturday morning, I can bring her and we go to work and we do shit. Do you know what I mean?
That's
and
good.
we do stuff that we could go paint something, or we could fix something, or we plan something. Do you know what I mean?
Deadly.
It's a good thing to have though, isn't it? Because like with most couples, like I'd find, but you would find that most couples would argue over work.
No, we don't. We're both work.
That's what I mean. It's a good thing to have.
She works just as I do, 7 days a week.
It's a good thing to have.
The last time I took a day off was when I was on holiday with Pamela about fucking 3 months ago. We had a day off. Other than that, we don't take days off.
He's about driven. That's what it is.
So the thing people need to understand, that work should not be work.
Yeah,
if you're going to work and you look at it as work, you need to change your job, because you should go to work the way I go to work. I don't go to work. I just wake up and I go do great things with great people.
I love it.
I love that. This is not what. Do you think I fucking get up and dig ditches for 80 euro a day? No.
So he's made it to the halfway point. This is the halfway point here now, where we say thank you to our sponsor, helping us out here big time.
Yep. Camerakit.ie. Down in Tardino Business Park. Go down, get your high-end quality cameras, audio and lighting. If you can't find them, go into the link in our bio.
Make sure you do it. Check it out, and let's get back to the episode.
I'm just giving you an
examples,
perspective, yeah. All of my man, even the guy who I employed to be doing all the t-shirts, I had to steal him from another company. Do you know what I mean? So he's working there now. He's following his dreams. Before he was just doing some designs for signs and stuff like that. But he always wanted to get into clothes. And I said, right, come in here. We'll build this together. We'll have the empire. Blah blah blah. You know. And I also, you know, if you wanna talk about how to hire great people, I can give you a bit of that as well.
Yeah, give me all the insights and all you have, the knowledge.
Hiring great people was the hardest thing for me to do at the start.
This man needs to hear this from you. This man used to own the business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm bollocks. So I'm going through bankruptcy now at the minute.
What did you do?
I had a scaffolding business, just fucking...
Great business, yeah.
Just went,
if done right.
Just went tits up, that's all. Just bad timing.
When did you do it? In 2008?
No, only recently. It's only
that's
gone.
That's not a bad timing.
No,
yeah, he's giving you the truth, monks.
No, I mean bad timing way. That's really why, like, it's not going anymore. Like, so basically...
Scaffolding's not going?
Yeah, like, I'm finished. So, basically, we were doing so well, and then just... There was a 2-month period then that just fucking shit hit the fan. Money wise went too big too fast.
The only way businesses fail when the phone stops ringing. So that's why your one failed, isn't it?
No, we had loads of work. It was because we went too big too fast. We were buying too much scaffold. We had too many outcomes, and there was
not enough income.
Barely.
You should get a business coach. Business coach could fix that in 20 minutes, you know.
Monks 20 minutes, man.
Well, I'm
good. Like, if you got that collar fella, he could probably help you as well. Because look, if you have a good product, scaffolding is fitting the scaffolding and taking it down and reusing it. You have zero overheads. Your only overhead is the labor of the guys that do it. I thought about having my own scaffolding company as well. I might do it in the future. Every asbestos roof we do, we need the scaffolding. The scaffolding is around 30 to 40 grand. The stuff costs you nothing because you have it. All you need is a yard and some cons to fit it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it was just because when we bought it, obviously we were on out money, obviously from buying it. But
yeah,
it's just fucking. It went well for 2 years, and then this year was just a bad year, so it just fucking closed up.
It's strange because this year everything's exploding. So
I know, it's mad.
There you go.
Fuck it. So look, it is what it is. We go back.
But look,
again
at least you have a lot of experience, and now you can start something with all that knowledge. This is what business is all about. Yeah. Do you know, they did an interview with.
I'm on me down at the minute, so I'll be back up. I'm just on me down.
Yeah, but no, you have experience. You have learned shit.
Yeah,
it's
true.
good.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying about the bottom. What did you say? Rock?
So they did what?
What did you say there?
I was gonna say about the interview. I was gonna say about an interview that they did with millionaires up in America. It was a few years back. I read it in a book, right? So they did an interview with millionaires, and I can't remember how many millionaires, and I can't remember exact details about it, but I'm gonna tell you the story.
Okay.
So they did an interview. I think there was 17 millionaires on the table, and they were sitting, and they were asking them, and they were all in age between 40 and 45, and they asked them around how many businesses were they in general,
right?
Yeah.
Until they've reached the business that made them millions. And guess what the number was? Was it
each person?
Yeah, they were in. There was 17 to 20. I think it was 20 guys, and it was 20 guys, and each one of them was in around 17 businesses until they've reached one that made
17.
Yeah, I would have said
so
that.
Every guy. So some of the guys were even more businesses. So until they've reached one that really made them the money. So when people start one business fitting skirting boards or something, and they think they're gonna make millions, no, they might need a checkup, you know. Because you need to be sniffing around. You need to be fucking looking. You know what I mean?
You just need the consistency.
Yeah, and you need to learn. You need to learn. You know, you need to buy it for peanuts, sell it for fucking loads of money, or do it on a high scale where you're selling it to mass public. You know.
Sure. Who was that earlier? Fucking. Was it my dad that said that earlier about the billionaires?
Yeah, I think he said something about billionaires.
They fucking in America you have to go.
Bankrupt.
Most millionaires go bankrupt 3 times before they become a millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the problem with the society and the school. Like, school teaches us that we shouldn't make mistakes. Whenever you make a mistake, you fail. You get the 1.
Fail.
But this is exactly opposite in life. Life is all about failing. Like, if you really want to succeed in life, if you want to succeed,
you're just learning. You're just learning. Every failure is a lesson.
Yeah, so if you want to succeed twice as faster, what you need to do, you need to double your failure rate. You need to fuck up more. But every time you fuck up, you look at what's happening here, what the fuck, why did this happen?
Well, you have to notice
elaborate on it, make sure it doesn't happen again, and put it behind you. Next fuck up. Okay, woo, do that for 10 years straight. All the fuck ups are behind you, and they're never in front of you then. You know what I mean? That's why I make very little fuck ups now, because I've made them all. Trust me. From hiring my best friends to fucking hiring idiots.
What would you say is if you could put a finger on the fuck up that one of your worst fuck ups, would you say?
Starting Underbody Kings.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it again.
No.
No, because it cost me $500,000 to set it up, and it's bringing me fuck all. If I've invested that $500,000, right now I have a business plan for something that if I invest €60,000 there, it's gonna be making €300,000 a month, and I'm gonna do it this year.
Holy shit.
Like, I have serious plans, but that like the garage is good. If somebody doesn't know about business, it looks great. But on paper, if somebody knows what the fuck is up, looks at it, it's a financial disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is, you know.
He just tells the truth. There's
There's no point putting this in.
There's no beating around the bush. This man, he's straight in.
No. Everything I say here is a
So here,
truth,
if there's someone watching now that are planning on starting up a business,
Give them some advice.
What's your
start a business without using your own fucking money? That's the way to do it.
Use someone else's money.
Yeah,
as the bank.
Look, to use someone else's money, you have to be a clever cat, because nobody is gonna give you a money if you don't have any experience. The way to do it is to sell other people's products. You need to get into sales. The best business right now is selling somebody else's shit. So, you know, you could come up to me. You could literally roll out to my office tomorrow. A stranger could roll out to my office tomorrow and say, Lucas, I want to sell some of that lava shit. What's the profit on if I make a sell? I say, oh yeah, I get fucking 10% or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? And they sell it.
Because they're making you money and you're making a set money.
Exactly. So sales is the business to go into, because you can learn how to sell anything. There's sales people who are really, really great. But sales is something that you need to learn over 40 years even. Because, you know, it's all body language. You know,
either have or you don't.
Body language,
confidence,
all that. You know, like if you're selling to somebody, you ask them to buy something and they do that and they look down, you know they're not gonna buy it. You know what I mean? Body language, your face has it takes hundreds of muscles and all of them mean something if you're talking to somebody. You know what I mean? How much is that? 200. You know what I mean? All of that body language, very important. You know?
Do you like poker?
I haven't played poker because I'm not into that kind of money, but I really like the fact of the playing poker and the
strategies,
I know the way
strategies and stuff.
I know the way it works. In fact, I lived with a Polish guy who was professionally playing poker. He was making some money as well, not even playing in casinos, but he was making it online. This cunt would play and he'd have his laptop and he'd like 20 screens open. He'd be playing on 20 of them all the time. Yeah, he was making a fair wage. Just sitting at home.
Fucking hell, man.
And then he'd go to the casino once in a while, you know.
Yeah, make you feel bad then. All of them. Banned, I'd say, was he? Was that good?
The top advice is use someone else's money.
Like that,
use someone else's money, but I would say before you use someone else's money, think about e-commerce. So basically, you know, go onto Alibaba, go onto AliExpress, find what the hot products are, buy them in bulk, or say that you're gonna do drop shipping. So all you need to do,
drop shipping is a big thing in America.
Here as well, but people don't do it. People are not awakened to it yet.
No.
All you need to do is set up a TikTok account, sell and market a certain product, put a link in your bio, and when somebody clicks that link and they buy it, it doesn't come from your house, it doesn't come from here, it comes from fucking China. And that person pays for it at that time. So you're just a middleman who sells it, and you look like a shop. And then when you build up, then you can buy the product, then you can have it, and then you can shorten the delivery time, then you get more customers, then you look for new products. That's how to grow. Then all of a sudden you have 20 grand in your bank right, and what do I do with it? Do I buy a Gucci top or do I invest it?
That's a question. Would you say you're materialistic, or would you save rather than buy?
I'm not materialistic. Pamela, what do we own? I own nothing. I own this pair of jeans, those runners, another 2 pairs of runners, 5 pairs of jockster shorts, and that's
so you jockster shorts. I love doing it.
I have nothing else. Everything else I have, I buy through company and for my company. I don't even buy my clothes anymore. I spend money on her maybe, but other than that, I have nothing. I don't want anything. I don't have a PlayStation. I don't even have a TV in my room.
Do you go to the gym? You look like a big lad.
I go to
so you find time for the gym.
Oh, I have to,
You need that.
Mental.
Yeah. Because you can't do business at the level that I'm doing. You can't find the energy if you're not doing gym. You have to do gym. Gym has to be done. Remember that our body was designed to run 20 miles a day and hunt food. Don't sit in the office and fucking watch.
I agree exactly there, which is you need the gym.
And if you don't, shit happens. Shit happens in your body.
Your body deteriorates over time. People don't understand what happens over time. Over time, the compound of time is very, very important.
It's in everywhere. Education, this, food, healthy food, unhealthy food, gymnastics. Exactly. It's if you do it or don't do it for 20 years, this is when the shit happens. Same with priests. Do you know the way priests, there's a common knowledge. It's common knowledge that priests run after kids.
Did
you ever think why?
Because they're on their own all the time.
No, it's not that. It's the fact that they don't ejaculate, and when they do it very rarely. And what happens is that buildup of sperm is not natural because men are designed to fuck and reproduce. And when that doesn't happen, it builds up a certain chemical in your brain,
and you just go nuts.
And you go cuckoo.
The full moon is out and you're gone. You're fucked.
Yeah. And do you know another reason why priests can't have kids? I love religion. I'm a specialist. I'm a specialist at religions. I know a lot of them. Yeah, because one day I was wondering what the fuck is the purpose of life, and I went on this journey of finding.
Tell me about that.
So the reason priests can't have kids is because in 1400s. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter what year.
Doesn't matter the dates.
It doesn't matter about the date. The Pope said, so all these priests have kids. And whenever the priest dies, all the kids get the shit? No. Priest can't have kids from now on. And all the shit in the church goes in circle now. Priest doesn't have kids.
So they can't leave out. Yeah. It keeps going back to the church.
That's it.
So then they start touching the little boys and girls.
That's another one. But look, that's not some conspiracy as well.
That's true. That happened years ago. You
can even look at the records of how many billions they have paid in lawsuits and everything, And that happens even in Vatican, even with the big lads,
Like, all men need to have sex.
Yeah, we need to. Basically, we are made to reproduce, If you don't,
that's true. He's not telling any lies, ladies and gentlemen.
This has to come out,
It does need to come out.
That just reminded me.
One way or another, you know what I mean?
That just reminded me of a man in town. Do you remember that interview? The fella, and he's like,
I need sex right now. What's your favourite sex position? Wheelbarrow. Do you never see that TikTok or even the YouTube video? Oh, it's fucking hilarious.
That's Jamie J. Carr, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
I know him. I actually know him personally. Yeah. He used to hang around Cabra.
The man with the bionic leg.
Yeah, with fake leg.
He's a fella in town, and he goes to him, what's your favourite sex position?
What's his Deco, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. And he's like, I like down the wheelbarrow. And he's like, explain it to me. And he's explaining it to him. And he's like, so you like sex or something like that? He says, yeah, I need sex right now. James just like this.
No, he had a big jacket on you, man. He goes, well, I have a big Gucci belt here, and I have a big bottle of wine. It's a deucer into bed. Like a legend.
People are just fucking mad, man. It's just brilliant.
But yeah, men do need sex. We do reproduce.
We do.
Do you plan on having any kids? Is that in the...
Yeah, actually we spoke about it briefly. I think when the tattoo studio is on autopilot.
How long is together? Sorry.
2 years.
2 years.
So when the tattoo studio is on autopilot, we're thinking next year maybe,
Yeah, you go, why not? When you win a title.
We're both very family orientated. I mean, I want to have kids. I know I'll be the best father I could possibly be because I'll be as fucking Rufus and fucking. I'll make sure that my kids are gonna, because the problem with having kids, like I had this argument on TikTok the other day. Somebody said to me, "Do you have kids? Do you have kids?" And I said, "No." "Oh, that's why you work all these hours. If you had kids, you wouldn't do it." And I said, "Why do you say that? Have you read minimum 3 to 5 books on how to raise kids and have a business?" Nobody does that. But the thing is, whoever reads book on how to raise kids, they usually raise geniuses. Because what happens in the first 6 years of your life, this is the most important part of your life.
Shapes you for the rest of your life.
But what usually happens is we are taught by our parents who have never read a book on how to raise kids. No. So 99.9% of humanity has been brought up by parents who haven't done that. Right. But the problem is that we need confidence. We need this. We need people to tell us that they love us. You're gonna be great. You're gonna do things. You're gonna embed that into somebody's memory. But we're not doing that. We're telling people, don't do this. Don't touch that. Come here, you little rat. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what people do.
True, you're not lying.
All of that stuff is embedded in the subconscious mind. That's why, there's different therapies for people. Beautiful example of a guy who was in his 60s. And something was wrong with him, and they got a guy they put him in a hypnosis, right. And they found out what was wrong with him, right? So he would be sitting, and over a sudden, when something happened around him, he would be getting shock attacks. He'd be just getting shock attacks.
Probably from his dad beating him.
His dad was beating him, but not normally. His dad would come behind him, and without any notice, he would start slapping him. Yeah,
PTSD from it.
Yeah. So that happened when this little child was 4, because the dad moved away when he was 4. So imagine all of that damage was happening from the age from 0 to 4, and it was happening when he was 60. So all the effects came
fucked.
out.
That's fucked. That's mentally fucked.
So that's why it's important to read books. To show kids how to be confident. Inject ambition into them. Don't show them TV. Don't show them this. Right. Play them something on the TV, but play them something informative. Right. Don't show them the stuff on RTE. In fact, if they don't know that RTE exists, the better for their success.
Yeah.
There's nothing on RTE that, Coronation Street and all that. Why the fuck would anybody watch that?
Who gives a fuck about Coronation Street?
It's basically, if somebody asked me today and came to me and says, Lucas, can you write a book on how to be broke? The book would start with, buy yourself the biggest TV that you can have and watch it for 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
This is the how to be broke.
There you go. You just have to be active.
Active and education, that's what I say.
Active
but
and
personal
attractive.
education, not school education. The problem that the school is something that if I had the power to set all the schools on fire today, I would.
That sounds like a plan.
I would. I genuinely would, because school teaches you nothing. Okay,
It doesn't give you life lessons, though.
It teaches you English, it teaches you numbers, but it doesn't teach you life at all.
It doesn't teach you life lessons.
like how could you go to school, come out of it, and know nothing about life?
Exactly.
It's
How?
actually true, though.
And that's what's happening.
true.
Do you know what I mean? Even the big, that's why I think that's why I'm successful, because I didn't finish school. I didn't have to unlearn.
You learned
anything.
yourself.
Yeah, I taught myself shit. Do you know what I mean?
yourself,
When
yeah.
I just hit the rock bottom, I said, fuck it, that's enough. Do you know what I mean? And I started reading books. The real knowledge is in books. And let me tell you why. The real knowledge is in books, because when somebody is writing a book, they don't have to think about the attention span. They don't have to think about, are the people gonna watch it? Are they gonna like it?
Yeah, exactly.
Whoever picks up a book about success, they want success and they want to read it. So they put as much content, valuable content, in the professional way. But when somebody is making a documentary or a TV series, right, we have to put some models over there. Now they have to have some fake tits, because who's gonna watch it? Now let's put some bullshit about having them been slaves, and let's do this.
Yeah, let's
now,
give them stories,
their
yeah.
attention span is fucked, so we have to quote it. So every time, even if you watch a National Geographic as documentary or something, hundreds of people have been involved in that to make sure that you are glued to the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's zero value in it, just entertainment.
Mad.
So run the entertainment out of your life, you know.
Take it out of your life and just focus down on work, and start. You're saying.
Yeah, but the war should be your entertainment. Why the fuck not? Who says that this is not entertainment? That's what it's my entertainment.
Yeah, true.
Like
yeah.
if somebody put me on front of TV and told me to watch football game, I would literally punch their head off.
You don't like football. You don't like watching.
Oh, why would I like it? Why would I watch somebody achieving their own goals when I have hundreds of mine to be achieved? When somebody hits the goal and they kick the fucking football into that yoke, right? I don't even know what the name of it. I don't care. And all the lads in the pub, yeah, we won. What the fuck did you win, bitch? what exactly did you win here? Tell me.
Probably had a bet.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Had a bet.
But why are you gambling? You know what I mean? If you want to gamble on yourself. You know what I mean? Make a bet with your girlfriend or something. Who's gonna read the book faster? That's a good gamble.
You like books. That's
Definitely not doing that.
he does like books. This man. But
Look,
knowledge.
audiobooks.
Do you think audio books? Knowledge.
I only read maybe 20 books in hard copies.
Well, you couldn't
I don't
even
read
tell-
a lot of
I couldn't even tell you how many books I've read.
audio.
You didn't read any books.
No.
I tried to invest in Pamela, you know, she's a hard case. She's read few about the spiritual stuff, but you know, when it comes to business knowledge, it's a very specific knowledge. You really need to crave.
So would you say both of you are fairly spiritual people?
Pamela, yeah, but you know, spirituality is about practice. It's not about knowledge. I have a lot of spiritual knowledge. I don't necessarily practice spirituality. I do meditate a little bit, but only enough to help me with the law of attraction, my businesses and my life.
And did you learn yourself how to meditate, or did you just?
I did.
Define it for us.
I did it back in the day when after I hit my rock bottom, I started studying different stuff and I learned about all these techniques. And because I was so stupid, and because I've learned that you have to try everything for a minimum of 21 days. That's actually another one. Do you know the way people say, oh, well, this doesn't work, your meditation thing doesn't work, this reading books doesn't work. People don't try stuff for a minimum of 21 days. What happens is that your brain develops patterns, right? So it takes 21 days to build a new habit. So let's say you build a new habit and you don't do it for a minimum.
That's right. I only said this yesterday. It's gone past 21 days for me. Do you think I broke the habit of me drinking?
Well, you've done well.
You know what I mean? I said that to Arden yesterday.
21 days is a good
21 days. Well, yeah, it's a specific number. I read it in some book. It's 21 days to overcome a habit.
Yeah,
you know?
it is. Yeah, that's the
What
same.
was I talking about? Jesus, I forgot.
You were talking about what were we talking about? Doesn't matter anyway.
For people that are watching, right, because there's probably some brain downers that are watching, right.
There would not be brain downers. They're all good people.
There might be one or two of us might be brain downers, but define spiritual. Like some people are sitting there going,
right.
"Oh, he's into ghosts."
Some people
spirituality is basically right. So you could argue, because somebody who goes to church and believes in that God, that, the fella with the beard that has 10 things he doesn't want you to do, but he loves you, but he always needs money, but dare you do one of them 10 things, you'll burn in hell, you bitch. So that's your God. That's the God right now, isn't it?
Oh, we don't know if I have a God.
Yeah, I know, but what is the drill with God right now? The Catholic Church, what is the drill? Like, if you really put it into fucking 10 sentences.
So
like you have a fella with a beard.
Yeah, a beard.
Fella with a beard in the sky.
He can turn water to wine.
He loves you. He needs your money because he is broke, right? He needs your money, and then he has 10 things he doesn't want you to do. But if you do one of them, and before you're dead, if you don't tell that thing to the fat priest, you'll burn in hell for the rest of the days.
There you go. You're gonna give the man the money and just sort
him out. So, but mind you, if you tell your sins to the fat priest on Sunday, you'll go to heaven. Isn't that the drill?
That's true.
Fucking gas, isn't it? I mean, so people who are religious, they can say that they're spiritual, but are they? I think real spirituality comes within. Just the idea that you need somebody to talk to God is fucking ridiculous. God is you and the fucking universe. God is not a person, by the way. God is energy. It's energy.
God is water.
And you can communicate with it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But you just need to learn it. I don't even know. I just know the principles.
It's just belief, isn't it? It's your own belief. Do you believe there's something there?
But look, I'm not saying that the religions are bad, because they are good for humanity. That the truth about religions is that religions have been developed by human to control human. Like every religion, look at the religions in the deserts. Let's say the fucking Muslims, right?
Muslims, that's it.
Why the fuck do they have to wash themselves 5 times a day? It's because they've been in the desert. If you didn't do that, you get diseases. You know what I mean?
There you go.
They're
very strict, aren't they, on the religion, Muslims?
Same in Europe.
Islam.
You know what I mean? The Europe back in the day was flooded with Catholic religion because there was no guards back in the day. Imagine, you're in control of a certain country. You have people. There's no phones. If you want to send somebody a message, you have to send a cunt on the horse for a week.
You have to send a pigeon.
And there's a load of villagers with some fucking...
Imagine telling it, right? Imagine there was no paper and you had to tell someone, will you go and tell this man, I'll meet him next Wednesday at 6:30, and he goes on the horse and he's 3 days in and he goes, bollocks, what did he tell me again?
That's exactly that.
Imagine.
That was a thing back in the day. So whoever was ruling countries back in the day, because the elites have always been
there's always been elites.
So they came up, right, let's fucking do this religion thing. Do you know what I mean? We'll tell people what they can do with it. We'll wrap it up in a nice paper, which is the Bible. Bible, by the way, is a copy of one specific
They were businessmen
book.
in a sense, weren't they?
Yeah. Very much, yeah. Very much. Because years ago, it's not happening now. Now we have taxes. We pay taxes to the government. But before, in Poland, in my language, it used to be called, because I've learned it back in the home. So a farmer used to had to give 1/10. So if he had 10 cows, once a year he had to give one of his cows if he had 10. But if he had 100, he had to give 10. So 1/10 of your goats used to go to the church. Like, why the fuck do you think? Look at Peter's church on Cabra Road. How the fuck did God afford this? That church is made of granite. Every single stone of those arches was cut by hand. That thing is worth millions. Why the fuck does God need all that? God doesn't need that. Do you know what I mean?
Why does he need a house for people to go to worship?
No. So real spirituality comes from within. So Russell Brand teaches all that. He's a great example.
Russell Brand's a good man.
Calm down. Sit down. Writing your goals is talking to God. Meditation is listening to God. That's what it is. And that's how it works. In the morning, you talk to God, you write your goals. In the afternoon, you listen to God, you meditate. So, you send your vibration. That's how the law of attraction works.
I can't even remember I can remember the last time I've had a chat with God.
Well, you have your book behind you.
We've never talked to him. I just
I think the only time Irish people really do talk to him is when they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh God, please help me here. God help me, or Saint Anthony, you're looking for something.
But that's the problem, because people should talk to God, and this is. Have you ever heard of expressing your gratitude? Also, very big one. If you want to be good at the law of attraction, you have to express gratitude daily. What happens when you express gratitude? Your body goes to a different vibration. I know people think it's some foo-foo stuff, but this has been proven. The only reason why somebody would not know that or would disagree with it is because they haven't done their fucking homework on
They
it.
haven't done the research.
That's it. You know what I mean? Your body is a magnetic field.
Yeah.
It can be about that big. It can be that big. It's been said that Jesus' body field was fucking meters. You know what I mean? So your vibe is literally there. That's why sometimes when you walk into a certain room, did you ever notice when you're walking somewhere and you look at somebody and you think about them and they turn around out of nowhere, they know that you're behind them.
That's mad,
isn't it? How the fuck
it?
did they know that?
Yeah, that is.
There's an energy field, and that energy field is your vibe. That's why the word vibe exists. I don't like his vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
people take it out of context. The vibe is real. You know what I mean? And the vibe is what's attracting.
There's a good vibe here, I tell you. There's a good
the
vibe.
vibe is what's attracting stuff into your life. Do you know what I mean? So you're thinking, you know, that's why
I like this thinking. There's a lot of thinking going on. There's a lot of reading. There's a lot of listening.
Yeah.
Knowledge is key.
Knowledge is key, you know.
Knowledge is key.
You know, because you know you can go through life. Fair enough. You don't have to read all the books. Once you know the main principles on learning on your own mistakes, you might get away through life. Because people often say to me, these books and all what you're saying is a lot of bollocks. I've never read a book and I'm successful. I have 2 businesses, 2 kids and a dog. And I'm saying to the guy, right, yeah, fair enough, I agree with you. You can learn on your own mistakes, but why the fuck would you? Every problem out there, every situation and every business
had before.
has been solved. Somebody wrote about it and it's out there for you to absorb. And you don't have to learn on your own mistakes. Yeah. So you don't have to learn on your own mistakes.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it? It just sounds.
Yeah, that's why I want to write my own book about, you know, raising. I've never finished that topic. We could it. I think we changed the topic.
Yeah, we go back.
So
to
my
that
book is gonna be about
son and stepson.
Real son and stepson. Because when I was working for that boss. that screwed me with the scrap, you know.
Yeah.
So he had a building company, and he had a son who was gay, right? His son his son didn't really like him, didn't like to hang around with him, but the dad really wanted his son with him.
Yeah.
So he hired him to be at home, and he was just sitting on the couch, maybe on Facebook or on email, something. He was paying him a full wage. And I was out there on the side doing all the work, but he was treating me like his son as well, because I was like his son back in the day. We used to do everything together. We'd go for drinks together. We'd go to the Temple bar together. We were like best buddies, me and the boss. You know what I mean? But so he used to treat me like his son, but not exactly, because that son, he was given everything. He was given the money.
Yeah, he got to just chill back.
You know what I mean? And I was the one getting whipped. You little foreign fuck, go dig that ditch. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
It wasn't like that, but similar.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying.
He didn't spare his whip on me. But he was really careful. Look, everything was coming from love. But that's because he wasn't educated on how to raise a child, maybe.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, because of what he did, he made me to be an absolute legend, where he made him to be an absolute loser. Do you know what I mean? Because of the way he was treating him. Because he was giving him for money. He was basically teaching him, you don't have to work for your money. Just sit on the couch and I'll give you money.
He wasn't
Maybe
showing him the
something
way.
will grow out of you, where it should have been done completely different. So my book will explain that. Never give your children money for nothing. They either have to earn it, or they
Some
have
sort of way, anyway.
Yeah, never. Do you know what Jackie Chan said about his son?
No.
Jackie Chan was worth, I think, 450 million at the time, and he said that when he dies, he's not gonna give his son any money. He might give him 1 million, because if his son is not able to make money on his own, he's not worth it.
That's madness.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
and there's guy Valuetainment. You probably don't follow this guy, Patrick. His name is, and he said on his podcast recently that. He said when you build generational wealth, so generational wealth is anything above 500 million.
Like McGregor has generational.
Yeah. So basically, you build your wealth and you pass it on to your kids. But if the wealth is not passed in a combination with wisdom, the wealth will disappear within the next generation, because the stupid cunt will get it and will lose it all. You can't get money and not know how to use money.
Right.
You know, beautiful example, people who win lottery. Look at the 90% of people, I don't know.
Gone in months.
Yeah,
gone in months. That's because people don't know how to use money.
They're going and buying cars, and they're going to brothels.
They are buying liabilities instead of assets. Yeah. So instead of using that money to buy things that will make you money, they buy things that take money. I mean, so I buy stupid things as well, but I make sure that the stupid things make me money, and I buy them through the company. Do you know the way
Yeah.
I made a fair point on my page there? You know, when I bought, because I don't buy any expensive clothes. Like I think it was last year or 2 years ago, I bought this expensive Gucci top. Right, it was €1,200. But now that I'm thinking about it, it was so fucking stupid because when you buy an expensive piece of clothing like that, it doesn't cost me 1,200. It actually costs me 18. Because when I have a company is limited.
Right.
And whenever you pay yourself, you pay yourself money and you have to pay 40% tax on it. So then by the time I get myself the 1,200, the 1,200 is 1,600.
Right.
So that top cost me $2,000 really.
Oh my god.
So for the past 2 years, I haven't been buying myself any expensive clothing. So for all that money, I've invested €20,000 into the clothing. That's what's going on. Right. So I wanted to finish off the story about the previous boss that they had and the scrap story, because sometimes I make it sound like he was such an awful guy or something. But no, I want to say
he was a nice man.
I have nothing but respect for him. You know, the thing is that people usually blame older people for the way they treat them, but they forget about things. They forget about what about the way they were brought up. Maybe they didn't know any better. Do you know what I mean? The way people make decisions, it's on the base level, on the level of knowledge that they have at the very time. Yeah.
Right.
So when somebody makes a bad decision, it's not because they wanted maybe to do the bad decision. It's not the way they were
Just
taught.
happens.
Yeah. So that man wanted the best for him, wanted the best for him, but the best way that he had was that. Yeah. So I have nothing but respect for him, even though he fucked me up with the scrap and all that.
Yeah.
He made me who I am.
He made it. He actually shaped you.
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember the reason why I was working so hard is because, you know, one day I said, when I got pissed off that time, I said, right, we were working in this basement somewhere. And we were stripping the plaster. We're doing damp-proofing. So we were stripping the plaster, and some guy, contractor, damp-proofing company, came in, and he injected the walls with something, and he did some damp-proofing. And I saw the bill. Like, the bill was for a couple of grand for a couple of fucking hours of work. And I was like, chink. You know, that's what I'm going to do.
They're always looking.
I went home, and I fucking started doing the research. I went to work the next day, and I'm saying to the boss, listen, I think I'm gonna leave soon. I want to be doing what he's doing. And the boss was afraid that he's gonna lose me because I was a workhorse. I was very stupid, but I was very strong, like a horse. That's what they used to call me.
Horse.
They used to call me horse or a Polish digger. Yeah, because for the boss, it was cheaper for him to get me to dig foundations for the standard extensions. I would do it in a day. Then to hire a digger and a driver who's going to do it in 2 days. Because you have to clean, you have to do all that. Yeah. I used to dig it by hand. I used to start at 7 o'clock in the morning and I wouldn't go home until I finished it. That was my mindset. I was a horse from day one.
That's some mindset to have. I wonder why you're so successful. You're so driven.
I think that's because of my dad. Because the reason why I've learned work when I was a kid is because, you know the way kids are 12 or 13 and they go around and play with kids? I wasn't like that because my house went on fire in 2000. My entire house in Poland burned down. So my dad rebuilt that house in 2 years using nothing but some fucking bricks that he found there or some fucking trees that he cut there or something that he found there, and everything was done in the house. It was me, my dad, my brother, and some maybe local guy that he did for the day's wage. We built the house. That's and all my childhood, all I can remember is just cleaning some bricks for my dad or fucking doing some shit.
So that shaped you to be...
Yeah, so that shaped me. I've learned work ethic from that because shit has to be done and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, working is part of life.
Do you think it's cultural though? Like, see, Polish people, I'm not saying Polish people in general, but that culture there that your dad made you get in there and work at a young age, but over here it's just a laid back type thing.
Yeah, I know, but you forget that we're living in Dublin here. Don't be thinking that all Ireland is like that. There's people in County Monaghan, there's people in County there's people in villages that live in a completely different life.
Rural areas.
Dublin is a country in itself, kind of, because life over here is degenerated a little bit. Like Ireland is a huge country, but everybody just looks at Dublin. They forget about the entire country. There's a lot of people who live that life. They live that life. They don't have TV. They live different lives in here. Dublin is crazy. That's why they call it the Big Smoke.
Yeah, the Big Smoke,
It's different. Over here is different.
They call it the Big Smoke because the two big pipes down by the sea. What's that called again? It is called
I'll tell you a funny story, right? I'll tell you a very funny story. You know, it's about the cultures and the dubs, right? Where they hate each other. I was in this house party back in the day, and everybody in the party was a teacher, and they were all from all over Ireland, right? Right. And there was this guy who came with me. He was Dublin, and he knew them. Do you know what I mean? And when we came into the room, you know, the first half an hour of the party, and he said, "Oh, so are you from Dublin or are you Sculchies?" And they all went mad. So do you know what they said? What? They said, "Oh, here's another dub. So what? If we're not from Dublin, we're already assumed cultists. So what?
Exactly.
Dublin? What the fuck is Dublin?
If you're not in Dublin,
I'm from Cork City. That's a big town. Do you know what I mean? Some guy said.
That's the mindset.
And they were making a fair point because dupes think that everything except Dublin is a village.
Yeah,
but that's what we think, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
It's madness.
It's stupid truth. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all.
Once you go outside once you even go up to Blessing in there, you're a culture to me.
Yeah, because there's nothing there. Like,
it's a small town.
Even like in Dublin. That I'm not saying that just because I live here, but Dublin to me is the best city to live in.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
There's always
because
something going on.
It's so small. You can drive from one side to another in half an hour during the day. You can buy anything. You can literally buy anything. Anything from an egg to a fucking weapon. You can buy here. You know what I mean?
A neck.
No, from an egg to a weapon.
Oh, I thought you said a neck. Imagine buying a neck.
From something stupid like an egg to a weapon.
Neck.
You can buy everything here. You can. It's a land of opportunities.
It is.
You have a lot of rich people, a lot of commercial stuff. I mean, like if there is one place on earth where to make money, it's fucking here. The law is so easy. The cops are cool. You know what I mean?
Cops are cool.
It's like
what? Do you think the guards are bad? Well, let me fucking give you a couple of stories here. If you think the guards are bad,
come and tell me.
People give out about, when I hear young lads giving out about guards over here, they need a fucking checkup from the neck up or learn some history.
I like that one. Get a checkup from the neck up.
I'll give you a fucking couple of examples of the way Polish police operates, right?
Go on.
It's not like here. Like whenever I see video here that the young fella is like, oh yeah, you fucking guard this and that. In Poland, you'd be slapped around. You'd be Pamela. Good example. The fella that was in her place where she lives recently, somebody was killed to death with a machete, right? He was slaughtered, right? But her friend
in Dublin.
No, in Poland.
Oh, Poland.
Yeah, in Poland. We're talking about Polish police force. But in that place of that crime, her friend was there a few minutes before, and the Polish police thought it was him. So when they took him to the guard, not only that, smashing is the nicest thing that they can do to you. Like they took needles and they were shoving them under his nails. Do you know what I mean? This is a common knowledge.
In this day and age.
Yeah, last month, like, do you know what I mean? This is shit like that. People. Yeah, like that's normal in Poland. You know what I mean?
And that's not normal.
It wasn't even him.
Yeah, and you can sue them. You can do whatever you want. Nothing like that. And that's the funny thing is that this is not just about Poland. This is happening everywhere except Ireland. Ireland is just one country that you can fucking tell guards to fuck off. In any other country, you tell guards to fuck off, you're getting slapped around.
Fuck.
Do you know what I mean? I'll give you a good example. When I was about 16 or 17, I was coming back from a party and I was woke up a couple of fucking times later, further, and I was walking home and I was walking through this town and I stood there on a little fountain, you know, around the school. The boys were sitting there at 10 o'clock in the morning, and just so happened that somebody threw a wheelie bin, like a bin, into the river, and the police came in and they just so happened to know me, and the first thing they said, "Oh, Mr. Suska," and they took this, my second name is Suska, and they took this big fucking thing and they don't ask questions, and they just gave me one of these fucking bangers on the leg. Do you know what I mean? Like poof. Like, do you know what I mean? And they put me into the yoke and they brought me to Garda station for questioning.
Why did he hit you, man?
Just like that.
A bang of a baton?
Yeah.
They're tramps like that, man.
Yeah, just because somebody threw in the bin and they thought it was me because I was bad news.
And what, you think that's alright though? That's not.
No, I
that's
don't
not
think
good.
it's alright.
That's not good,
but
man.
that's why I'm saying when people are giving out about Irish guards, they should appreciate it a little bit more because they could be
we're
a
not
lot
Polish
more.
guards.
They don't even carry weapons here. Do you know what I mean?
True.
Yeah, like.
But I think that's it's a good thing that they don't, because like in America where the cops are fucking gun happy and shoot you. Like,
yeah, that might be a good thing, but they get no respect for that. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
You know, like how could you respect a fucking law enforcement fucking guy who's supposed to save your life and he comes to fucking rescue? Because realistically, police is not there to be fucking catching us. Like if you think about the idea of why is the police should be there to fucking protect you.
Yeah, true.
Isn't it? But that's not how we feel. No. When was the last time you were driving your car and you look like cops in the fucking back mirror and you feel, I'm safe now. The cops are behind me.
You don't.
That's the job.
You don't.
They should be for that, shouldn't they?
Yeah,
like,
they
the cops
should
should make us feel
You
safe.
could be the most honest person in the world and you still feel like you're trying to hide something from them.
They're always trying. They're always
Yeah.
trying to do something to you, aren't they? Like they're always
Yeah,
trying
in
to,
fairness,
especially around our area and our state. Like,
Yeah, I feel like areas can affect how people look at them.
Yeah.
Oh
obviously,
yeah,
but-
totally.
Like-
Especially over here. Like I know this place very well. Do you know what I mean? And you have to understand the cops as well. There's a lot of nutcases running around here,
Yeah,
and it's
true,
it's very easy to be mistaken for somebody if you wear the same type of tracksuit.
That
Everybody
people-
wears the same stuff around here, but they're different people. Do you know what I mean?
here's a story for you. So for the guards, so mistaken for someone else. Yeah, that happened to me before. So I was staying in my mate's gaff, right? And it's literally, remember I showed you that picture where the car was flipped? So I was on that road, but just a little bit up further, right? So say it was 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was raining out, and I had a black jacket on with my hood up and a pair of sliders and shorts, and I was running down the road, and the guards pull in front of me like a little scale, little handbrake in front of me.
No way.
And they stopped me, say, what's going on? They'll call me by a different name. I won't say the name what it was, but they call me by a different name. They said, I was like, that's not fucking me. I'm not that person. Right, got to me just to the edge of my garden where the gate is. Guards grabbed me, slapped me up onto the bonnet, into the chicken wing like that up on the bonnet. And they thought it was someone else. Like, my man steams out of the house saying, what are you doing? What the fuck off, wait, bub. And they were like, oh, we thought it was someone else, sorry. Like, that's just little things like that, a small story that they do all the time, like.
Yeah, but but that's very light. I mean, like that's nothing.
Yeah, that's light compared to someone in Poland that's getting smashed up and needles in there.
Like, I could tell you some stories that fucking would. I don't even want to repeat them because I get bad energy from it. But like, there's some shit out there. I mean, like, fucking, and that's not just Poland. Like fucking Russia, Ukraine, fucking Slovakia. You know.
But do you think we're what's the word? Like, see WhatsApp and the videos that get around me. Now when you see someone getting smashed up, like I've seen something like that already, but it doesn't affect us really that much. Do you think what is the word for that? We're not affected by something, and because you see it all the time, climatized, there's something like that. So you get me. Do you ever see videos on WhatsApp? You see people getting their heads chopped off. And it doesn't affect.
Whenever I get those messages on WhatsApp, I block those people. I have to. No, because you have to watch what you're exposing your brain to. Whatever you watch or you absorb, it's not just like, oh, it comes in here and comes out over there. It gets embedded in your back, a subconscious mind. It's always there. The funny fact is that every information you have ever absorbed is there. And the way you can retrieve it is by going through deep meditation. Not meditation, but hypnosis. You can get it.
Do you ever get hypnotized?
No, I never have, but
I'd like to. I'd like
to as well. I did go to a Reiki specialist who told me who I was. And I was talking about my previous lives. She told me my 3 previous lives and all that, you know, but I don't want to talk about that. It's a spooky subject. But yeah.
Oh, I'd like to be spooked, but look,
I went to this one spiritual fortune teller, and I'll never go to another one again because they just know too much about you. Basically, if spiritual fortune teller, they have a third eye. I was trying to open. So basically, you have your chakras. You have the Sahasrara, throat chakra. There's different chakras. They're basic energy point. So see this tattoo I have here?
Yeah.
So that's your throat chakra. So this chakra is responsible for your for the way you speak and the way you present yourself. Yeah. That's because I used to meditate on that chakra a lot. I believe that's why I communicate so good. You know
so that's what you're thinking, yeah?
Yeah, but I wasn't like that at all. I set this as a goal. I made a plan and I did that, and that's why I got the tattoo, because I believe it worked, you know?
That is mad.
So you have those different things, and then you have a chakra here. It's called the third eye chakra. So I believe that those spiritual fortune tellers, they're not bullshit woo guys. They basically have trained to use the third eye, which we have. But the reason why we can't use it is because we drink water that has been poisoned with fluoride, and we brush our teeth with a toothpaste that also has fluoride. And fluoride is the only chemicals that affect your pineal gland. And pineal gland is directly connected to your front chakra here, right? So it's a direct link here, and the way to open it and give it a little bit of boosting is by smoking dimethyltryptamine or doing ayahuasca or meditation.
Have you ever tried either of those?
Yeah, I got it.
I always say to him, I'd love to
I can organize it. €200 a gram.
Yeah, it is. It's very expensive.
Yeah, I don't know, what do you classify expensive, but it's $200
sorry. We're just peasants in this room.
You're talking about you're talking about opening your consciousness using a super fucking shortcut, and €200 a gram is expensive to you. You know what I mean?
No,
meditate for 20 years or fucking do this. You know what I mean?
We'll do that. We'll be doing that tomorrow.
€200 a gram. But the funny thing, when you smoke the dimethyltryptamine, so can I talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, please do.
Are we wrapping this up, or can I?
No, we'll finish on that.
So basically, the dimethyltryptamine. Yeah, I love this topic because
I love it as well.
So back in the day, still happening, but generally speaking, the way this was developed is that the shamans in Peru, they would develop this drink, which was it's still called ayahuasca. So it's basically a mixture of roots. But these roots, these plants don't grow beside each other. One is planted over there somewhere. It's very hard for them to be found in one region. So when the reporters went to Peru and they asked the shamans, how did you ever found this magic drink which enables you to travel through different dimensions and it fucking helps you talk with God? And what the shamans said that the plants told them. They were on such a level, people can't even comprehend on the level that people used to be connected with Earth. Like people used to, it's crazy.
Madness it is.
Yeah, like we haven't got a slightest clue. We don't even have 1% of knowledge. Like there's written reports that people used to connect with animals, but they used to channel with them. People think that, you know, connecting with different animals or something is about words, or law of attraction is about words. But no, language doesn't come to equation. It's in pictures. Your subconscious mind and your channeling should be done in pictures. You know what I mean? It's all about picture.
Right.
That's why when you're visualizing, when you're doing your goal planning, it's not called thinkalizing, it's called visualizing, because it has to be visual. Your brain doesn't understand words, because if it could, your brain would have to know hundreds of languages.
And that's how I work as well. Like I couldn't, the way I do it, I can't really read and then try and do what it says on the paper. I'd have to see someone do it, and if I see him do it. So
there's different types of people. There's people who absorb knowledge by visual, you know, when they see it. There's people who can hear it. That's why I give a good tip for somebody who really wants to learn a lot of shit. So let's say you don't like reading, you don't like reading. But what about you got the book and you download the same book on an audio version, put the earphones in your head and let some motherfucker read it for you, and then you follow the text.
Yeah, that's right.
So then when you do that, not only is your eyesight who's absorbing the knowledge and it gets stored in one part of the brain, the other knowledge which you listen to is stored in another part of the brain. And then also you can do few tips. So you can, in the time of reading and listening, you could be having a certain smell. Usually the fountain that does the smoky oak, put a bit of tea tree oil into that when you read it. So then that knowledge is stored in another part of the brain as well, because you smell and you associate that
memories,
with that smell.
Smell.
So people used to do that when they go to a test, when they go to school and they do a test, they would have a certain smell around them when they learn, and then they open that smell when they're in the test room, and all that knowledge kind of kicks back in.
Is that superstition, or do you think it's
nuts?
It cannot be superstition if there's a tangible evidence for it. Whatever doesn't have tangible evidence, it's a superstition. Whatever has tangible evidence isn't.
But do you think it's a placebo? You know, like that.
Oh yeah, totally placebo. If you don't believe it, it ain't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you have to. That's why. Yeah, that's why. The same thing I say about the law of attraction. The only people who the attraction law doesn't work for is people who don't believe in it.
Exactly. It can't be half pregnant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The only people who don't believe in it is the only people that doesn't work for them.
Exactly, you have to be all in.
Or they have tried it and didn't work for them, but they only tried it for a week. They forget that you have to do it for a year minimum. You know what I mean? It's something that is built over time. Your energy has to expand first for it to work. Because if you're fucking just, you've been brought up by your parents who have never taught you anything, you've been watching TV, cartoons, stupid shit, went to school, hang around with idiots, how the fuck is your energy gonna be, on a different vibe? You know what I mean? You're basically doomed down throughout your childhood. You're closed, the fluoride, close your pineal gland. You're just.
So what do you brush your teeth with then?
You brush your teeth with a toothpaste. So basically, when you go to the shop, you look at the toothpaste, you take it out of the box, you offer 3 of them on the back. On the very end of the toothpaste, when you have the sealed bit, there is usually 3 different colors.
Yeah, blue.
So the green one is the one that you want. Blue one has half chemicals, half green, and the black one has all chemicals.
About that,
Usually the whitening stuff has all black. Avoid that at all cost.
Yeah, don't go near
the best toothpaste.
Charcoal.
The charcoal is
and baking soda.
Yeah, the best stuff to brush your teeth I found is in Tesco. It's a toothpaste that is in aluminium kind of a fucking packet. And
Crest, is it?
Arms. Something, green sign or something. That's the only one without fluoride that I can find off the shelves in Ireland.
I'll have a look at that myself there now.
Also water. Avoid all that water. If you look at pictures of what, and listen, this knowledge is not new. It's not new. Look at all the look. I watch a lot of shit about ancient aliens and all that stuff. This stuff is everywhere in the hieroglyphs.
I could talk here for about 8.
You know the Eye of Horus and all that. People do it. If you cut your head in a half around your pineal gland, that exactly would look like the Eye of Horus. You know what I mean? That is it. They knew all that shit. They knew about traveling to different dimensions. They knew all of it. And the funny thing is, this is not conspiracy. All of it is written in the Lost Book of Enke, which is the blueprint for Bible. Bible was copied from the Lost Book of Enke. Lost Book of Enke is a 15-hour book book that explains you who the first people were here. They were created by these people who came from planet Nibiru. We only found that planet 10 years ago, by the way. It's called Planet X, but they call it Planet Nibiru. So these fuckers came from that planet. They settled on Earth, and they were digging gold because they needed gold.
Because gold is the like what was supposed to be on top of the pyramids.
Yeah, but the gold, the aliens needed the gold, apparently, according to this book. They needed the gold in order to fix their own atmosphere because they ruined it. And they needed to crush the gold into dust and put it into the atmosphere. By the way, this is what we're about to do. Bill Gates is already planning something like, because our Earth is destroyed exactly the same way. So they came from that planet over here. The reason why they came here, because that planet Nibiru, every 26,000 years, is very close to Earth. And in that very time, that planet was like fucking milestone to Earth.
Fuck that.
And they know that it's proven. The planet is exactly on the other side, but one day it will be very close here. You know what I mean? And those fuckers came in here.
We're just specs, aren't we?
Yeah, really? And so the way they created human, according to that book, this is not some my philosophy here. I'm just telling you what I've read in that book. Yeah. So that book says that these people from the planet Nibiru, they were digging that gold, but they were a little bit fucking tired. So they looked around and they said, right, why don't we mutate some of these fucking beings living on this earth? And they found this monkey. And they started testing monkeys. That's why you have different types of people, because the first man that they've made, apparently according to the book, it was a black man, but it wasn't doing the job the way it was supposed to do. Then they've made a different man. That's why you have all these different nationalities, different types
madness,
of people,
isn't it?
because they were testing. And then they found the last one. The last one was the most capable man, who was listening to orders. You know what I mean? That's why all the people are. This is all written.
According to this book.
Yeah, the name of the book is The Lost Book of Enka, and the book is based on a clay tablets that you can find in museum. It's not something sucked out of a somewhere. It's all written down.
This has opened my mind to a different dimension. This episode has exploded my brain.
So when people say that the ghosts and all that, or aliens come from a different planet, or these fucking spaceships,
they're probably from this planet.
They could be from a different dimension. So the way they travel, I also follow a lot of alien shit, but I only follow guys who are specializing in this, not some fufu guy on the internet, you know.
Fufu guys.
People basically, do you know the way? Let's say you saw an alien today. Yeah. Where would you go? You would always find a person who specializes in that stuff. You can't go to police. You can't go to your friends because they tell you you're stupid. So there is those entities who are basically, they specialize in verifying the stories. Right, so you can find them, and they have it all on their portals, right? So I read a lot of that stuff, and what they say is that the aliens, there's written examples of third degree contacts. Yeah. So what they always say, one of the people who asked them how do they come to Earth and how do their mechanism work, and one of the aliens said it to the human, not in words, telepathically. That's how they communicate. They're way above talking. They're telepathically. So he said that they have a mechanism which is. In my language, it's called rtęć. I don't know the name of that chemical, but basically that chemical.
Say it again.
In Polish, it's called. Check. I'll tell you the real name in English.
Element 115, is it?
Yeah, element 115. Yeah. That's the one. Element 115. Yeah. Bob Lazar was doing research on that. So that chemical runs around the circle in a very high speed, and that gives the spaceship anti-gravity qualities. That's how they can move so fast, because
that's how they move.
Yeah. So they're not. The gravity doesn't exist around the field.
Exactly. Yeah. Why do we listen to Bob Lazar myself? They just watch the Bob Lazar and Joe Rogan episode.
Yeah.
And they out on Netflix.
Yeah, I only watched them recently. But the stuff that I've learned was there's a Polish guy who specializes. He has the biggest fucking library of that stuff. His name is Robert Bernatowicz or something like that. Amazing guy. Anything about aliens is
well, you could sit here all day talking aliens.
Yeah. Oh, I love that as well, because this shit is real. I believe that aliens come here. There's about they counted about 5,000 races, of aliens.
Different types,
races of aliens. Yeah, and they come to Earth the way we would fly over jungle and look at the people downstairs with the machetes and all. This is what we are to them.
Just little specks,
We're specks, uncivilized, who fight over territory and argue over color of skin. We're not civilized at all.
But did you see that supposedly that the only contact we started having with aliens is when the nuclear bombs started.
Yeah, because when a nuclear bomb explodes, what happens is that explodes in different dimensions as well. That's when they started. But they used to come here all the time. But when they really started coming is then. There's even reports of aliens shooting off a nuclear plant and dismantling the weapons. This is written reports. You can see the interviews with the fucking general saying what happened. This is not some conspiracy. The reason why people don't believe when you tell them this is because they didn't see it on TV.
Exactly.
That's why I say every TV in the country should be smashed with a hammer and fucked out the window. Because people view reality on the basis of the fucking box on the wall.
If the box doesn't tell you,
if it's not on TV, it's not true. Go fuck yourselves. I mean, there's so much knowledge out there written by so many people. Why don't people absorb it? It's there. Go and take it. But no, fucking, let's watch fucking Family Guy or something. You know what I mean?
Or a show.
Yeah.
Great show.
Yeah.
I would love to go on all day.
Yeah.
We'll wrap it up.
I think we're giving people too much knowledge now. We're all gonna start catching on.
We'll probably have to, down the line. We'll do it again.
I'll do it again.
Yeah,
I
100%.
have so many topics I could share. I could literally talk for hours.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd love for you to do it. Definitely a part 2.
Definitely a part 2.
Anyway, we wrap it up because Pamela's there looking
Pamela
at you
is
on an angle. You know what
not a
that
bother,
means.
but look.
And we don't want Pamela to get us in an
I
armbar.
know, I'm only joking. Yeah,
you plug yourself away there, Lucas.
Plug away there.
For our viewers that getting to know you, where could we find you? What would it be the name?
So my name is Lucas. I am a businessman in Dublin. I own a couple of businesses, but the main place where to find me is Lucas Suska on Instagram or Lucas Suska Entrepreneur on TikTok. Or if you need a new roofing done, I'm the guy. Or if you need any work on your car in terms of roost, I'm also the guy. Pamela has a tattoo studio. I have a couple of other businesses which you can find on my Instagram. That's where I'm going to see you.
Yeah.
Pamela's tattoo studio is
Glasnevin, Pretty Little Ink. She generally does.
Yeah, and we will
tattoos.
be there soon, getting a tattoo.
Yeah, I'll be down getting a love heart.
But look, I just want to say thanks very much for coming on,
100%.
Lucas.
Thanks
very much,
for
Pamela. Thanks very much.
Do you know why I really enjoyed this podcast? Because usually when by the way, guys, I have my own podcast. It's called Irish Success Podcast. I invite entrepreneurs and business people, and we basically give people value, show them how to start a business. Maybe,
You've gave a lot of people value here today, including myself and the 2 men here that work with me, Monks and Nathan, definitely. And old Darren in the back, he's definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah. So I would strongly suggest for people, if they want to learn about business.
We're trying to wrap up here, like.
No worries.
We'll wrap up, yeah?
We'll wrap up here.
That was good, yeah?
Yeah, here, stand out of the way for a sec, will you? We'll be wrap this up.
Sorry.
There you go.
My apologies.
We'll wrap this up.
Yeah, so I want. Is this on? Is this live?
Yeah.
Hey, can we stop talking and we just finish this off? So the reason why I like this podcast is because I was able to talk. On my podcast, I'm interviewing people. And people always, get offended when I interrupt them. But I have so much stuff to share. But when I'm interviewing people, I can't fucking say it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I like coming on other people's podcasts. That's where I can explode. And
I'm glad you came here.
That's why I came and I drank some of the super proper 12.
Yeah.
Say hello to McGregor.
Well done,
Yeah,
McGregor.
because I think, when you get yourself, I'm not talking about getting drunk. If you get yourself a little bit tipsy on 2 drinks, you give honest truth. And I'm all about honesty and integrity. And
that's the way to be. Always be honest and be authentic.
Yeah, I think I live by it. That's why I like to have a few.
Authenticity always sells, as we always say. And look, thanks very much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks for making my mind explode.
Yeah.
Have a good think. Watch it. Whoever watched this,
I'm gonna get the details off them books that you're reading.
I'll text it to you. I'll say it to you. You can show people on this.
We'll put it up here.
I can actually give you a list of books and how to start listening to them on Audible. I'll send you a screenshot. Because everybody who watched this, they should get into fucking audiobooks, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're always gonna work in your €600 a week. How much do people make a week in normal jobs now? Like 400 or 500 quid a week?
Yeah.
How the fuck can you live on that? I spend more on Pamela alone.
Oh, this man. Oh, look.
No, but I don't know how could people live on less than fucking €1,500 a week.
That's true.
No, living with dignity, where you don't live and you say, your girlfriend says, babe, do you want to go for dinner? And you know, I'm fucking broke. You know what I mean? Food, you should never fucking have a fucking feeling. Even the most expensive food, you should always be able to afford the most expensive steak, even every fucking day. If you can't do that, you're broke. That's how I would define. Let me just.
That's how to define broke.
Like people say, I'm not broke, and I say to them, well, do you live in your own house? Well, no. Well, do you own your car, or is it on finance? Well, it's on finance. Well, when you go to the petrol station, do you fill to the full, or do you fill by 50 quid? Well, 50 quid. You're broke, bitch. I mean,
We're all just broke.
the moment you can do all of it just like that, that's when you're okay-ish. You're not even rich, but you have to be. This should be your goal.
You're comfortable.
Go to petrol station, fill to the full. How the fuck could people put 20 euro into the car and think that they're not broke?
That is true.
There you go, people.
Broke motherfuckers just living.
And I'm not saying it
place.
to make somebody feel bad. I was super broke most of my life, so I know how it is.
No, you're just telling people to get off their ass and get going.
Get off your ass, get going. Start making that dollar and fucking best of luck to you.
Right, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
And if you don't see it through the week, if you don't see it through the week, I'll see you through the window.
And keep your head out the microwave.
Lovely job.
Yeah, love it.
Guys,